Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? This guy. Welcome to Nintendo Dads episode 438, recorded on August 3rd, 2023. On tonight's episode, ladies and gentlemen, dust off the books. I am back to talk some business because we got some numbers and let's break down all that exciting fun. That's why I'm here. Plus, Sony finally caught up with The Last of Us clone. What happened there and so much more. Plus, where there's smoke, there's fire. A lot of talk about the Nintendo Switch successor this week. I'm going to tell you why. Water is wet. All of that and whatever else we decide to throw on this dumpster fire of a show, plus your questions and so much more. Jesse, cue the music.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Nintendo Dads. I am your host today, along with Jesse and Justin. Marty is off, still working on that album of his, so we're letting him take care of that so he can drop that. Oh, no, wait, no, it wasn't the album. It was, he's got to be a manager at the SummerSlam this Sunday. So, he's got to be a manager there, managing it up over there. Hope he does well. But what do you guys
is this a Bobby Heenan or a Virgil?
It's a Bobby Heenan type thing. That's what I think, So how you doing, Jesse?
Good. Since I don't, do they still do managers in modern WWE? Because most of my experience is back in the 80s.
Yeah, we've got Paul Heyman. He's the manager of the current reigning champion. So.
Okay.
Did you know that? Come on.
I actually might watch. Wait, what streaming service is this on now?
Peacock.
Oh crap! Nope. Okay, I'm not going to
Poppycock.
It just for that.
It's on Poppycock.
I would struggle to name 5 current WWE wrestlers.
Roman Reigns. Yeah,
Roman Reigns. I know there's a guy named Roman Reigns. Is AJ Styles a thing?
I haven't heard him be a thing in a while.
Is that guy?
Yeah, he is a guy that used to be a thing there, but I don't know.
The guy Dusty Rhodes' son.
Yeah, he's there. Cody Rhodes.
Cody's still around?
Yeah, he came back to WWE for
occasionally. The Rock makes an appearance.
Occasionally, yeah.
When he's not filming a movie.
Greg Miller is a WWE superstar host.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
This is awesome.
Yes.
That is essentially all I've got, folks.
There's a great women's division, too, that I don't remember all the names of those ladies. That
women are wrestling now? That's crazy talk.
They actually are the most fun to watch than the guys that sometimes when I watch, because they do a lot of fun things that I remember having fun as a kid watching.
They'd be able to be more acrobatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
Now, when I was growing up with it, it was The Rock, it was Triple H, Stone Cold Steve Austin. It was the Attitude Era of wrestling, right?
Yeah.
You've got Rey Mysterio in there, Chris Benoit, right? You've got Bret the Hitman Hart, Shawn Michaels, RVD, right? All of the Undertaker, Kane, those were the guys that I grew up with. Mm-hmm. And now, Chris Jericho, now, no clue. Couldn't tell you.
Chris is over at AEW now, so there's quite a few over there from that.
Yeah,
Attitude.
I like to kind of peek in every once in a while into the world of wrestling and look at it and be like, "What's going on over there?" That's interesting. Again, this is not the wrestling podcast, by the way, folks. We are not officially starting one. Although, again, I really think we should have a spin-off show, and that's what Marty does, right? Marty can talk wrestling all day.
Wrestling and board games.
Wrestling. I think there it is. Wrestling board games is what it's called.
Wrestling board games. Yes.
There's a show in Canada. It's on Crave called The Dark Side of the Ring. Is that something that you guys have in the US? I want to think it's on Vice.
They show that on YouTube once in a while too. They have a couple episodes.
That's a really interesting show. That is, they take like a piece, a snippet or whatever, they take like an hour and it's kind of like a documentary style. I find that fascinating. Like the behind the scenes of anything I always find interesting.
Did you watch the biographies on some of the wrestlers from our time too.
Yeah, I think it was like on A&E.
A&E,
So yeah, I've been watching that a little bit on my Amazon Fire Stick. Actually, I installed A&E, and I've been watching some of those episodes there. Those are like the Rival series.
Too. Oh yeah,
yeah, those are really interesting. I remember last year we were traveling in the East Coast, and one of the nights we were just kind of a bit of a down night. My wife's flipping through, and she finds like one of these WWF biographies, rival shows, and she just like, we just watched like 5 hours of it. There's like back-to-back episodes, and it was like,
you can get lost really in those for sure.
Do anything, we could just watch the Undertaker and his his careers.
Yeah
no kidding. But of course, I digress. We're not here talking about wrestling. We're talking about, of course, all the nerdy Nintendo news that you need to know for the week of August 3rd. Tim, how are you doing though, sir?
I'm doing great. It's just, again, like Jesse said in the pre-show, it's like, hey, it's Thursday before you know it. So it's like, I'm excited to be here and talk games with you guys, and of course about all this Nintendo stuff, and excited that you're back, Justin, because you know.
Yeah, it's been a hiatus. It's been a bit of a
between
hiatus.
You and Marty there. It's like summer's taking you guys away.
Yeah, again, contractually, I don't like to work with him as much as I can avoid it. That is part of our yearly contract. Yeah, summer is just busy for us, and it's tough to find that time. I find I'm able to carve time through the week and get content out like we have been for the videos, and obviously recently the Disney Illusion Island review, which by the way is only the second or third time we've ever had a review on our channel. But so like there is content
so it's
creation.
Extra special.
Yeah, content creation, but just not enough hours of everything else, right? Doing other commitments and that kind of stuff. So but yeah, excited to be here back in the pocket chatting with you guys about it. I'm excited.
And just in time for numbers too, from what I hear.
Again, just a pure coincidence, to be honest. I totally forgot about it as well until I saw it today.
We all did.
Similar to Jesse, I was like, oh yeah, that's a thing today. Oh good, this is news.
Well, let's jump into the news while we're talking about it.
Do it.
All right. The news and the ad-free version of this podcast is brought to you by patreon.com/NintendoDads. And we'd love to give a huge thanks to all our Patreons out there, including our newest ones, who took the time out of their clocks and the money out of their wallets to come to help us out here at Patreon. So, and a special shout out to our good friend Super Nintendo, who we want to give a huge shout out to. Vin, we are thinking about you, and we all send our love and support to you and your family. So stay strong. And one more shout out to our friend Gary as well. We love you, man, and you stay strong as well. So, but thanks to everyone for helping us create more great Nintendo Dads content like the one Justin was talking about, doing that Disney Illusions review. We wouldn't be able to do those kind of things if it wasn't for everybody who listens to us. So thank you very much.
Yeah, and it's people are maybe like, I don't understand, like how does that work, right? Like what do you mean you couldn't do that without us, right? We literally have companies that will reach out to us because they've heard of us or know our brand, and will ask us questions like, how many downloads do you have, or how many people listen to your show, or that kind of stuff. And so we provide that information back to them in full transparency. And then they are like, oh, then I really think you have the exposure to the network that we could give you an access to a code early, and then for you to provide content, create content for it. So that is sort of how that works. So people are like, I don't know.
We have companies that say that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, screw you. We'll go to Roger.
Companies who are like, no, sorry, that isn't going to happen. Right. But there's others who ask those questions. And so really, like, by you listening actually actively helps us grow and helps us be found by others and supports us in that way as well. So like, just for kind of full transparency, people ask how that works. That is how that works. And it allows for us to create more content. And it's kind of like a hamster wheel of content that we try and do.
Yes. So let's not delay any further. Let's jump right into those numbers there that we got today. In fact, was it today or earlier today?
It was this morning.
All right. So we got our hardware numbers, which Nintendo Switch has now sold 3.91 million units between April 1st through June 30th worldwide, for a total of 129.53 million units sold.
Yeah, and that is the important thing to mention here. The numbers that we're going to be sharing with you, the capture window here is April 1st to July 30th. This is Nintendo's June. I apologize. 30th. Thank you. April 1st to June 30th. This is Nintendo's first Q1 fiscal reporting year for 2023 into 2024. So the when you hear something like 3.91 million, like that's not a lot. That's only in those 90 days.
Which
not
was
bad
an
at all.
increase over the same quarter last year.
What was it last year? Do you remember? Do you have the record?
Don't remember the numbers, but I did see a slide saying it was an increase.
Yeah, I mean,
and the majority of them were OLEDs.
Yeah, and I would sort of be interested to kind of see what that differential is to compare the difference, because you could basically say that's the Tears of the Kingdom bump, right? If you would to be, because they're not going to break it out.
I might be able to find last year's numbers if I dig back in the notes.
Yeah. So we're now at 129.53 million units collectively for the Nintendo Switch, which is absolutely tremendous, which now moves it into its next kind of like big threshold, because it has just passed the Game Boy. Its next big threshold is the Nintendo DS, sitting at 154.02. And then right after that is the PlayStation 2, being the best-selling console at 155 million units. Do we believe, and we've always had this conversation, I think we always talk about it, can it actually beat the Nintendo DS? Thoughts, gentlemen?
Well, before I answer that, last year's first quarter was 3.43 million. So it was up by about 500,000. And then I think my answer to that question that I said 3 months ago when we last talked about the numbers, where I think the Switch would have to go into 2025 to do it. So if they don't release a successor next year, they have a chance.
Spoiler alert, we're going to talk about that later in today's show. That's called burying the lead. But ladies and gentlemen, when we get to that, that's known as a callback. We're going to call back to when we talked about this earlier. Yeah, I think this is a tough one to get to. The sales forecast that Nintendo has projected for 2024's fiscal year is 15 million units. And the president for Iwaka has said it's going to be a stretch, being in the Switch's 7th year. So, I mean, even, if you think of this first quarter, 3.39, that is where we have Tears of the Kingdom come out, right? We definitely know there's going to be a bump there. Maybe people buying a first-time Switch, maybe upgrading a Switch, buying a collector Switch. Do not, as we move into our next quarter, our Q2, which is going to be July to the end of September, when we talk about these numbers in the future, don't anticipate a 3.91 million, right? That is
no Pikmin bump?
Yeah, no Pikmin bump, maybe, right? Like, I don't think so. Right. I doubt it, but I think that this is going to be a bit of a challenge. Now, we may see a little bit of a bump in Q3 if Nintendo does something along the lines of like, hey, here's a Super Mario Wonder edition, right? Or here is a Super Mario RPG edition, right? If they do some runs, whatever the word I'm looking here for, custom runs.
Themed
thank you. I was like, why can I not find that word? Themed runs.
They're so hard.
So listen, ladies and gentlemen, it's been like a month since I've done this. All right. If they do that, you might be able to get some bumps, but I don't think nothing is going to be as big as Tears of the Kingdom was in regards to that bump. So I do think he's right. I think 15 million is going to be a real stretch. Even looking at this, you've got, approximately 11 million left. 3.91 minus 15. So you've got about 11 million left over the next 3 quarters. That's a stretch, I think, for sure. And I think he's called it out here. And so I wouldn't be shocked if we see Nintendo adjusting their numbers to reflect accordingly as well.
Yeah. Another possibility too is in that third quarter is if there's I don't think it is going to happen, but if they drop price at all for the holidays, or they do some sort of new package, not the same old one, but some sort of new package that entices people to buy a Switch, especially an OLED.
I love this. Eaton Donuts in our YouTube chat says, I've bought 4 Switches at this point. No more. I'm done until Switch number 2. Fair enough. Eaton Donut. And thanks for everyone who's jumping in, by the way, in our chat here. I see a couple of quick names here. Ghost 82 is in there. Mo Spankins, Pog by Atari.
Can we clip that, please?
As soon as it came out of my mouth, I was like, that's not right. That's Is there a see more butts here? See more butts? Oh my gosh.
Amanda, hug and kiss.
Yeah, exactly. I need a man to hug. Oh my.
Yeah,
Folks, ladies and gentlemen, we are about 15 minutes in the podcast and we are already off the rails. Welcome to the Justin Show. This is going to be an absolute train wreck. I'm glad you're here. Join us.
I looked at the hardware sales for Q2 last year, and it was down to 3.2.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. That's great. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so I don't think they're going to end up passing the DS.
Yeah, I don't see it either.
No, I mean, lifetime. It may trail, but I do think, Tim, there's like 3 or 4 levers that Nintendo could pull to do this.
Yes.
One really being that, like, hey, we're gonna have themes for all these and make them bundles. Do a really significant price drop and bundles.
Right.
And then it will also very much depend on how sharp of a cutoff we see from like Switch to whatever the Switch successor is going to be, because there is a tail.
Yes.
Right. If Nintendo continues to support, and again, I'm also making a couple of big assumptions here, not backwards compatible, right? All that. There's a bit of a tail. We could see it kind of like
it could reach that then.
It could like inch its nose over the line barely, like you just got there barely, but you got there. But before they decide to kind of, pull the plug and say we're done with it. So it is a possibility, but it really depends. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm going to save this for later. Go ahead. Okay. Keep going. This is going to be during our talk later.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. What else do we got here as well? Let's talk about some of the top 10 games. No shock here, ladies and gentlemen. Coming in at number 1, Mario Kart Deluxe. 55 million units. 55 million units, folks, which is absolutely crazy. Animal Crossing at number 2. Number 3, Super Smash Brothers. Number 4, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Interesting to kind of see what the Breath of the Wild bump maybe has been in association with Tears of the Kingdom, because I wonder if there is kind of some significant jump there. Yeah.
Breath of the Wild they almost sold 1 million units.
They almost sold 1 million copies, and so that's 840,000 units were sold in, again, that 7-week period that we're really looking from, especially for Tears of the Kingdom coming out and Breath of the Wild. So kind of pretty, Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild definitely got a little bit of a sales bump there. Super Mario Odyssey coming in number 5. Number 6, Pokemon Sword and Shield. 7,
Odyssey passed Pokemon this quarter.
Yeah, it did move up barely. Odyssey at 25.76, and then Tears of the hold on a second. Those numbers can't be right.
I didn't update a number, but yeah, Odyssey did pass.
Okay, fair enough. I trust you then.
I'll check.
But, don't make me have to replace you. I don't want to do that. Okay.
Again?
I see Sean Capri in the chat. I will replace you in a heartbeat, Jesse. It'll take a snap of my fingers, and this will be an all Canadian show except for Tim. 2 Canadians and an American is what we're going to rename it.
Right. Odyssey is now 20. Odyssey is now 26.4.
You're lucky. Skin in my teeth. I had HR on speed dial. After Pokemon Sword and Shield, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Number 8, Super Mario Party. Number 9, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the party. New to the list, landing at number 9 with only 7 weeks on the charts. It's Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom at 18.51 million units. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. In 7 weeks, it moved 18.51 million units. Here's the fun part, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the part. Here's the kicker. Here's the scratcher, all right? Nintendo only counts physical numbers. Physical numbers.
No, these include digital.
I'm an idiot. Back that up.
If you look at NPD numbers, those are only physical. But Nintendo announces both.
Okay. Jesse's here keeping me honest. He has saved himself. He's redeemed himself after the typo in the doc. I will let it slide again, folks. I'm back after a month, so I'm a bit of an idiot.
Now you're on the block now, Justin.
Right. It can't be. I am this company.
Nintendo asks if Chicken Wiggle is in the list.
You want to have a chat about Chicken Wiggle? Because
Oh,
we will
no.
edit today.
Oh, no.
Because Mr. Jules Watson put out a post today from Chicken Wiggle on Kickstarter.
I was trying to avoid that because
Were you?
now I'm going to be pissed. Now I'm going to be
You're
pissed
the one who
off.
put it on Discord.
I know. I put it there, so I wouldn't have to put it here because I'm just going to piss me off.
Here's okay. Here's the thing. We're gonna have a new rule about Chicken Wiggle. All right.
Okay.
Nobody can talk ill about it unless you are the person who paid the most money for it. So in this group, whoever paid the most money for their support is the one who can speak ill. Everyone else has to shut up about it.
Mm.
To be honest, I did not speak ill of it. My friendo did.
I'll let that slide. I'm saying on our show going forward.
And if you want to know my contribution to that game, it would be 0.
Tim, what level did you come in at, Tim?
I think mine was the $100 level.
Then you are the only one who is allowed to speak ill of it. Everyone else can't say a word. We can go, I received an update. That is all we can say. Moving on, this is not the Chicken Wiggle part of the show. We'll have a whole section just for that later. Ladies and gentlemen, going back to the list here. So number 9, again, Tears of the Kingdom, 18.51 million in 7 weeks. Shocker on this one, guys. What do you think? How do you feel about this number?
I'm kind of surprised that it wasn't higher, considering they said they sold more than 10 million in the opening weekend. Mm-hmm. So that's still like 8 million across the other weekends.
Yeah. It's a significant number for sure. Right? Yeah. Like that is landing. That is taking a strong landing onto the charts. It'll be curious if we'll ever see parity with something like Breath of the Wild, right? Will we ever see Tears of the Kingdom kind of reach up to like Breath of the Wild number 4, Tears of the Kingdom number 5? It'll be interesting if we see that tail. Presumably, right? We're going to see Tears of the Kingdom's numbers increase, Breath of the Wild stays relatively static or slight increases.
Yeah, so, I think we talked about this before, and yeah, but Breath of the Wild just has a 7-year tail.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
It's going to be hard to catch up.
Yeah, you're always throwing like half a million units in there every single quarter. You're eventually gonna you've got a little bit of a lead.
Yeah, but really, it only needs 8 million more units to take the 5 spot.
Yeah, and you want to talk about a banger of a holiday deal? Tears of the Kingdom holiday bundle. Right, games bundled in with the
then that would count as a hardware sale and a software sale,
right? And boom, you're kicking that up the charts pretty well. And then rounding off the list, ladies and gentlemen, number 10, Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe, 16.17 million. It will be interesting. We're not talking necessarily about it right now. It will be interesting to see where Wonder ends up coming into the list, and where we see stuff like Mario RPG come in as well once we see those numbers. Let me just take a look here at some honorable mentions.
Yeah, I don't think RPG is gonna. I think I think it'll be under 10. Wonder will get close to the 16 million needed to get to the number 10 slot, but may not do it in the first quarter.
Yeah, for sure. Nothing. Is anything else? As you're looking at this list, gentlemen, that you want to talk about for like honorable mentions or things that, I would say this: if you expand into like the top 15, some interesting things. Number 12, Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee. Number 13, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shiny Pearl. Number 14, Pokemon Legends. Just those 3 plus the other ones in the chart here. You've got in the top 10, 1 in 3 games is a Pokemon game in regards to their charting in the top 15. Again, it shows the impact of that IP and how important that is. Even if you just take those numbers, folks, like just to take the software numbers of the Pokemon games, you got 20. Let's go easily. 26 million, 22. So that's 48. 48 plus 15 is going to be 63. 63 plus 15 is 78. 78 plus 15 is 93. You've got 93 million pieces of software movement that has been moved associated with Pokemon. That is tremendous. Again, you talk about why Hey, is there going to be a new Pokemon game this year? You damn right, betcha there is. We all complain about Call of Duty every single year, Assassin's Creed every single year, but nobody's talking about the angry Pokemon effect of every single year annualizing this thing and making money. You know why? Because it's Nintendo, and we don't talk about Nintendo that way. But they're sitting back there rolling back the fat stacks of cash that Pokemon is bringing in.
Yeah. Well, while this year we're
just
not
sitting back there going,
"Oh,
give me
yeah,
some more
well,
coffee, you sons of bees!" Like, come on.
I forgot about Detective Pikachu, but I was about to say, we're not going to be getting a Nintendo game, but I guess we are with Detective Pikachu. But we're getting DLC for last year's game, which they did kind of the same thing with Sword and Shield as well.
Yeah.
So it's still a revenue generator, just not 70 or 60 or $70 a pop.
I'm going to stop the show right now.
Okay.
What you do?
Ninfrendo? Ninfrendo asks, Justin is drunk on power. Ninfrendo, welcome to the Justin Show. You either get to sit down and buckle up, or you're going to not enjoy the ride at all, because it's going to get a little weird and it's going to get a little crazy, and you're going to enjoy it. So sit in the chat and just let it come over you like a wave of crazy energy, because it's going to be a heck of a ride today, folks.
You need to clip that too, people. Anybody's watching, clip that.
Right.
All right.
I feel like I need to get a picture of Justin and then like dress him up like the Joker after
there
that.
You go.
Right.
That's
already going to be on the picture.
Hey,
right
you know what didn't make the list, ladies and gentlemen? Everybody, 1, 2, Switch did not make the sales numbers list. However, in all fairness, I think they had a day. Memory serves from when it was released. I think they had about 24 hours to make this list, which they did not.
Yes.
But of course, Nintendo only actually ever shows the ones that have made over 1 million in their report. So,
yeah, it released June 30, so it really released on the last day.
Yeah, so we won't.
We'll find out next time.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, a couple of things that jumped out to me here is one, the Splatoon 2 versus Splatoon 3 numbers. Splatoon 2 is showing still at 13.3 million, and Splatoon 3 is only at 10.6 million.
What does that say to you, Tim? What is it? What do you think when you see that? Why do you call that out? Because I think you're right. I think that's an interesting number to talk about.
It's interesting because does that mean just not enough people were interested in Splatoon 3 that as much as people thought for Splatoon 2, or because we had Splatoon 2, they didn't really have to put a Splatoon 3 on the Switch?
I think this is such a great example of a organization or business, in this case Nintendo, not making a strong enough business case for what the difference was. What is so different about Splatoon 3 than Splatoon 2? Because I bought that earlier, and you're not selling me on like what is it? What is it exactly? And I don't think they told that story well enough. Right. Yeah. And this so I think that's kind of where you see those numbers. I would love to understand how much of like Splatoon 2 sales and Splatoon 3 sales are the same people.
As someone who is not a Splatoon player, pretty much the only bump that 3's got over 2 is 3 team Splatfests. Other than that, is there really much of a difference?
And I think that could exactly be it, right? Like I just don't think, and I think we all talked about it, right? Like even playing it, we're like, yeah, like there is stuff here, but is it enough?
That's where that transparency comes into play, because it's like, okay, we don't see much of a difference, but to me, I speculated when we talked about this before that is there something on the back end that they just had to do where it's like, okay, we can't move forward with Splatoon 2 if we want to do X, Y, and Z in the future. So we have to create Splatoon 3, a new foundation, so that we can then build on it. But they weren't transparent on that, what that was.
Yeah, I think this is a byproduct of like, hey, we know that we can. This is an easy sell for us. We know there's a market. Like let's think about this here, folks. Right? In less than 10 years, we had 3 Splatoon games that came out. And you're like, what do you mean, Justin? Because Nintendo Dads is less than 10 years old, and we were here when Splatoon 1 started, Splatoon 2, and Splatoon 3. So in less than 10 years, you can't put out 3 Splatoon games? This is an IP that didn't exist prior to the Wii U. But by the way, there was something in the sauce, right? There was something that people attached to. And this is a great example of let's monetize, let's move forward, let's do it again, let's see what we can do. How can we squeeze that a little bit more? This is sort of like, I'm gonna be honest, this is sort of the business of it, right? Which is also my argument before of like why, and I'm going to use this as parallel. We had this conversation, Overwatch, right? Overwatch 1 versus Overwatch 2, Splatoon 2 versus Splatoon 3. I'm going to make an argument that both of them should have been like, hey, this is the new DLC, right? Pay $20 and you get blah, blah, blah. That's it. It's not a new game. It is a new, like, that's what you should have done. And I think you could have had an easier time potentially doing that, but your monetization value wouldn't have necessarily been as high, right? In Splatoon 2 to Splatoon 3. So they sold it as a new IP. They sold it as a new game with some new tweaks in it. This is sort of the challenge. But here's the other part of it. If you look parallel to like what Splatoon is versus like some other game that we might parallel in the video game industry, let's look at Call of Duty, right? Call of Duty is the same Call of Duty every single year, but they changed like a thing. One thing. And I think that Nintendo was like, could Splatoon be our Call of Duty that way, that we can make that argument, right? They were positioning, they were like, even if you think of the original Splatoon, the original commercial for the Nintendo Switch, Splatoon was like showcased as an esport, right? I think they were really trying to bet big on the annualization of Splatoon, the creation of like esports in regards to it, and how do they move that forward as part of a longer term strategy. I don't think they were able to deliver on that. Splatoon's still a fantastic game. Splatoon 2, 3, all the Splatoons are great. I love them, but I don't know if they made such a compelling reason for why Splatoon 3 needed to exist when Splatoon 2 already existed.
That's a good point.
And I think the sales numbers reflect it because it is down by about 30% comparatively.
Yeah, I was trying to find a list of numbers for Call of Duty per year for each one. And it seems to fluctuate just like any other game does. The list I have is just kind of like top 10 sales wise. But like 2017, they sold 19 million copies of Call of Duty. So 2020, I think was the next number I saw on the list somewhere. They sold 30 million copies. So 2019 was 30 million copies. So a lot of it's around the $30 million mark.
Yeah.
So, but right now it's only 10 million.
What's that? Call of Duty?
Splatoon 3. No, Splatoon 3 is only 10 million.
Again,
but is that Nintendo's Call of Duty?
Well, here's the deal, right? You also have to recognize Call of Duty's multi-platform, right?
True.
There's a lot of
including
different
PC,
there, right? And also your
That's
audience
true.
is kids, right? There's a lot of like ways that you can end up cutting that. I do want to make a statement here. Ninfrendo asks, where is the Splatoon 3 DLC or that add-on thingy? The DLC has been out there. There was two waves of DLC. The first one I think has already gone. The second one is not out yet, but I'm going to suspect we're going to see that probably in September, relatively soon. I mean, here's the other part of that. I mean, Frendo, thank you for the reminder there. Even when we saw that DLC that was announced, we were all like, I don't mean to be rude. I know we got some good friends at Nintendo listening, but like, guys, that felt a little thin.
Yeah.
Right. When you looked at the DLC for Splatoon 2, like you got a whole brand new, the whole agent, all of that, right? New character. You got tons of stuff in Splatoon 2. This was the first wave of DLC was like, hey, do you want your hub city to look like the old hub city? You can do that. You're like, I'm sorry, what? This is a cosmetic thing?
Yeah, Wave 1 came out February 28th, 2023, and Wave 2, it could be available anytime by December 31st, 2024.
Yeah. So it just felt like Splatoon 3 in some ways was a little bit of a grab. Yeah, I had fun with it, enjoyed it, but it felt a bit grabby, if I'm being completely honest.
It felt unlike Nintendo, though, too, to me. Like, Nintendo talks about if we're going to make something, there's something going to be unique about it. Maybe was it just the three for them, you got to remember. So this was a very Nintendo thing to do. Yes, it was the 3 battle thing. This was also Nintendo's kind of first introduction of a battle pass system. This was now it wasn't a paid battle pass, but it was a battle pass, essentially what they had done.
right? And so this was a very uniquely new Nintendo approach as well. They also did some very strong crossovers with games, right? So they did the actual Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom crossover. There was another crossover they did with another game too. I can't remember what it was. Yeah, I can't remember. But I think there was that. Again, it's culturally, we definitely know like it's big in Japan. It's kind of in that cultural zeitgeist, the culture around the clothing, all of those things. It's very established there. So I think it kind of felt a little bit like we need to keep people thinking about it. I will tell you this right now. We're burying the lead again. Someone asks, "Oh, and the successor comes over for the Switch too. What games do you think are going to be there at launch?" Ladies and gentlemen, spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! In the first year, there's probably going to be a Splatoon 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I also wanted to note that the sales numbers I have here are probably low, and some of them are out of date because Nintendo only shares the numbers if they sold more than 1 million in the fiscal year. So Splatoon 2, the numbers are probably good through the 2019 fiscal year. So anything sold after that, I don't know. So it could have sold another 2 or 3 million in the last 4 years, but we don't know since they didn't sell more than 1 million in 1 year. And then Splatoon 3 were good up until the end of last fiscal year. So anything that sold in the last 3 months, we don't know.
Yeah, agreed.
And then similar 100%. To like you talked about the 3 Pokemon games in 12, 13, and 14 position. Those are old numbers too, but those are the best numbers we have.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good discussion. Anything else that sticked out to you guys? Anything else?
I wanted to mention at the bottom, they list the upcoming first-party games and third-party games being released, and this is the wording they used in their presentation in their PowerPoints. In 2024, we'll release the Princess Peach will star as the main character in a brand new game temporary. So,
yep.
Launch title. Okay.
I was just amused that they were that verbose with it.
Right.
Where the games around it were Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon temp and Metroid Prime 4 temp.
Yeah, and I think that's, I know the Metroid Prime 4, I want to think there was some specific language, because IGN reported on the Metroid Prime 4 thing.
Don't you come back and tell me it's going to be delayed and put on the next successor.
They're not.
Because
that's what Seth's been saying for a year.
Yeah, that's what
didn't they say that it was going to be on the Switch? So
I actually put it on.
You announce it the first year.
Doesn't mean it can't be on both.
Hold on.
Breath of the Wild and Twilight Princess say hi.
No, we all said that before. Like it could be both. I would accept that for sure.
Where is the post? Come on here. Okay. IGN reports. Hold on a second here.
So, well, we do know what first party ones are, and that's, obviously we had Pikmin 4 for July 21st, Detective Pikachu Returns October 6th, Super Mario Brothers Wonder October 20th, WarioWare Move It November 3rd, Super Mario RPG November 17th. Then we have Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, the remaster, remake, whatever they're going to do with that in 2024, the Princess Peach game in 2024, and then Metroid Prime 4 to be announced. Justin?
Yeah, it was funny because people were like, well, hold on a second. So I guess it's still coming to the Switch. Presumably, maybe, possibly. Right, here's the deal. Like, if Metroid Prime 4 wasn't on the list, people would lose their mind. Right, because it'd be like, oh my gosh, it's taken off. It's for the next console.
Nintendo this has been on the list as CBA for 3 years.
Exactly, right. And Nintendo hasn't confirmed the other console. So by them, if they took this off the list and moved it to the other console, it would cause more questions. And all of a sudden now, Metroid Prime 4 is a launch title on the new Nintendo Switch XL Super Friendo version, right? And like, so they haven't said anything because they have to leave it there. They're going to cause more questions by moving it in any single way.
Well, they don't say upcoming games for the Switch. They just say upcoming first party games.
Yeah, I was going to
Correct.
say it doesn't say it's a Switch game. It could be anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think, well, people were a little bit like, well, it's still listed. I'm like, well, of course it's still listed. Right? Yes.
Right.
They're not going to not list it.
Some of the third-party games we got to look forward to. We've got Oxenfree that came out in July, Disney Illusion Island in July, Move Out 2, August 15th. Be on the lookout for something from us on that. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, August 18th, which is one of the ones we're looking forward to. Blasphemous 2, August 24th. Sea of Stars, August 28th, another one we're all looking forward to.
August and September are heavy.
Samba de Amigo Party Central, August 29th. Fae Farm, September 8th. Myth Force, September 12th. I'm looking forward to that one. Super Bomber R2, September 13th. Batten Kados 1 and 2 HD Remaster for September 14th. Mortal Kombat 1, September 19th. And that still blows my mind that they're doing that for the Switch, which is great. Minko's Night Market, September 26th. EA Sports FC 24, September 29th. I have that pre-ordered because I want to support EA Sports bringing games to the Switch. NBA 2K24, September 2023. Persona 5 Tactica, November 17th. Batman Arkham Trilogy, Fall 2023. I'm also interested in that one. And Song of Nunu, League of Legends Story 2023. Whew. Lots of stuff to look forward to. Anything else about the numbers or releases, gentlemen?
Well, I mean, I think the other thing that I would say in the numbers, I don't think we have it here as well. Nintendo also reported numbers for the Super Mario movie. And those were also big.
Oh, in that too?
Yeah, I didn't note any of them, but they said it was something like 110 million people who've seen the movie. Yeah. And it's grossed 1.35 billion, but of course we've been saying that for a month already.
Yeah. I mean, I would say in general, it's been a really good time. Here we go. Thank you very much to Stealth over on Twitter or X, whatever it is. I don't care anymore. So the Super Mario movie box office numbers is 168.10 million views. Total box office revenue is $1.349 billion, the highest ever for an original film based on a video game, and the second highest for an animated film viewed by people of all ages. Yeah. So Nintendo be doing good in regards to their bankroll right now.
Yeah, their IP.
They're having a good time. Having a good time.
All right. So moving on from the numbers, we've got some other news, such as released back in June, The Last of Us clone, The Last Hope Dead Zone Survival, gets pulled from Nintendo Switch eShop. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Eurogamer claims.
I really wish now that I had downloaded it because I would have loved to see this.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call it a clone because I think the game itself looked like just trash. It didn't look like anything.
It tried to be a Last of Us game.
The title card looked like a Last of Us title card. Just
let me trace over the title and then
but I think that's the only thing it really copied. The rest of it just looked like garbage.
Now I want to look for screenshots of this.
Wasn't it like an $8 game or something stupid like
that? It was cheap and people bought it just to see how bad it was, and some people even did some YouTube videos on it, Justin, so you could go watch it there too. But it was really horrible from what people have shown. Eurogamer claims it is due to copyright claims made by Sony is why it got pulled.
Yeah, because I saw an article, I saw another video talking about it, and the YouTube video that's kind of like the trailer to The Last Hope it does state that it was taken down by a copyright claim based from Sony Entertainment.
Okay. So
yeah, I mean they were definitely going for Last of Us vibes. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts, right? This is sort of the like, can I copy your homework? Yeah, but sure, just don't make it look like you copied my homework.
Right.
Kind of meme. And they failed. They definitely failed on this one.
Well, an interesting take that I saw when I was reading about this too was do we, and I think we've brought this up a few times before, but do we feel this is a problem for digital shops in general or video games in general? Like the potential cloning of other games being really close to the original.
Well, I think Nintendo says, this looks more like an asset game. Basically, they buy assets and just throw them in the game without any editing. That's definitely a problem, both in Steam and in Switch.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, this is hard, so first I would have loved to be in Nintendo's boardroom when it's like, hey, Sony's on the line. They
Right.
want to just have a quick chat about something, right? Like, what's going on, Jim Ryan? Just hanging out here, taking a little bit of licking my wounds from the Activision thing. Hey, how are you, Nintendo? Doing all right? What about you? We're just killing it over here with sales numbers. If you heard of Game Tears of the Kingdom, by the way, we made a pretty good movie. What can I help you out with, Jim? Hey, that Last of Us show that we did? Yeah, pretty big, huh? Pretty games, pretty great. Yeah, fantastic. There's a clone of it on your eShop, you son of a bee. Right? Like, I would have I want to know how that conversation went. Because also, like, how what
does it get past? How does it get past people to get to that state where it's
does
somebody just says, yeah, here, we're going to put this game out there, but isn't there somebody at Nintendo, for example, that's supposed to vet these things?
Well, they're not just going to a database and like hit upload game, right? Like they have to have a relationship with a Nintendo, like a Nintendo contact who works on the inside, who's their client manager essentially to help get these things done. So I am very curious about like what the conversation was there.
Yeah, my understanding is there is a person that they don't necessarily check for potential copyright issues. They're just there to check. Does the game run? Does it crash? Are there memory leaks? Things like that. That's going to standard across no matter where you publish games or apps. I remember having to deal with that, when I submitted apps into Apple to be put on the iOS store, things like that. But it's up to the the copyright holders of whatever property is an issue to say, hey, this is a problem. Can we take it down, please?
Here's the thing that I'm so curious about, right? Was Sony worried that this game was going to ruin the reputation of The Last of Us? And that more people would go buy this game on the Nintendo Switch than play The Last of Us somewhere else? And that people would get this game and The Last of Us genuinely confused in regards to like, by the way, wow, all of a sudden sales numbers are down on the PlayStation 5 drastically. Why? Well, have you seen the game? Have you seen this game over on the Nintendo Switch, The Last Hope Dead Zone Survival? Because that is eating our lunch.
Nobody wants to buy a PS5 to play The Last of Us anymore. They want to play The Last Hope. They just want to play
this thing on the Nintendo Switch. Son of a gun. Yeah. There's the House of Mario destroying us again. I can't believe it.
Nintendo says seems like bad precedent to set by Nintendo to cave in. I don't see this as caving in. This is just like YouTube. If I take a clip of a movie and upload it to YouTube, and then the copyright holder says, hey, he can't do that, take it down due to the DMCA, they have to do it. They don't investigate to see if it's a false claim or not. They just do it, and if I think it's a false claim, it's my responsibility, not YouTube's, to fight it. This is the same thing here. Otherwise YouTube would be liable. So this is the same thing with Nintendo. They said, okay, DMCA, I will take it down. If the publisher of this game thinks it's a false claim, it's on them to fight it back, not Nintendo.
Mr. Timothy Off, the floor is yours.
I just wanted to say I wanted to quote Most Bacons because I just wanted to say his name. But he did say, have you seen what makes its way onto the eShop? Haha. So yes, there are lots of other things that makes its way on the eShop.
Oh, that was a funny title. I'll have to look it up on the press site. But it was like a game that it was a stupid little puzzle game that I think the Dads After Dark people might like.
What once the game is purchased, right? Nintendo can't pull it off the system, right?
I think they can.
And would they just refund it?
I would hope so.
Like, I'm so curious. I am so curious about this process.
That happened with Advance Wars when like one person
Oh, that's
apparently
right.
got it last year,
That's right.
and it was yoinked off the system.
Yeah, that is interesting. I would just there's and could you also imagine like the development team who made this game who's now like, we've invested time and money and energy, and what do we do now? Right. Well, I imagine also Sony's probably have a lawsuit with them, but
Okay, here we go.
they're
Slime
like,
Girl
we lost the
smoothies.
Activision Blizzard deal. We are so gonna pay for it somewhere else.
Right.
Right, you poor 5-man development team making a Last of Us clone. We are going to come at you and we are going to cut you for everything you are worth.
Which probably cost $1,000 to make. yeah. The game I saw in today's press release was Slime Girl Smoothies. I'm like, okay, that just sounds weird.
Yeah.
Are the smoothies made of Slime Girl? I don't know. I didn't look.
I would, yeah, there's I one of these days we've got to have one of these like client service, Nintendo client service managers or account managers on. I'd love to have a conversation. Right. Nintendo, come on, y'all listen. I know y'all listen. You do. I know that. Right. We've had
trying to get Doug to leave a voicemail for us at least. Doug's, if we can't get him on the show, I'm trying to see if he'll leave a voicemail for us. So
after what I just said about Splatoon 3, Doug has not shown up on our call. You know what I mean? He is like, nah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He doesn't have to be on the show. If he can't be, then leave us a voicemail. I wonder
if Kit and Krista had to do this at all. Handle this.
I don't know. Maybe we
should have a chat with them again. We should
see if we can get that conversation going for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, fair enough, folks.
All right. Moving on. Where there's smoke, there's fire, dads. Sources claim Nintendo is targeting second half of 2024 for its next console, per the Video Game Chronicle's latest article. Manufacturers are ramping up stock to ensure that it has ample stock available on day one and to avoid the kind of shortages seen with PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. Key partners have dev kits. It is known to be supposed to be another hybrid console, may not have an OLED screen to keep the cost down, has a cartridge slot, backwards compatibility is unclear. Nintendo wants to convert its 100 million plus user base, but third-party publishers are concerned legacy support could impact next-gen titles. Industry experts state 2024 makes sense. Fits Nintendo's PlayStation, Xbox mid-cycle release timeline. They expect a deeper holiday launch lineup to match what Nintendo had leading up to the holiday in 2017. And remember, Nintendo said development seems to be progressing well, but a product launch won't happen before next spring at the earliest. What do you guys think? We getting a console in 2024? Second half?
Definitely seems possible.
And water is wet. Right? Like people are like, oh my gosh. And I saw the amount of YouTube videos of like, Nintendo's just told us the 5 things that you need to know about their new console.
Nintendo didn't say anything.
Hasn't told you jack. All right. So let's bring it back a notch. Okay. Here's what we know to be true. Nintendo has confirmed they are working on a successor or a new console. By the way, every platform is doing this, so don't be shocked. We absolutely know that the Nintendo Switch is by the end of its life cycle. This totally makes sense. It doesn't appear to be coming out in this year. Okay, so then maybe next year. That makes sense, right? So these are these are just like pieces of like logic that you begin to put together. So let's start breaking down some of the parts about it. Is a hybrid console? Yeah, it probably should be a hybrid console because they just had tremendous success with a hybrid console and they make a lot of money on portable consoles. So yeah, that seems to fit really, really well.
And just like we said this in 2017, the Japan market is mostly mobile. People play these on trains going into work, while in the rest of the world it might be more docked. But if we can do it both ways, all the better.
Key partners have development kits. Of course they do. How else do you think a lineup of games shows up for you when the consoles are released? You think they just like magically click their fingers? Of course they do.
Unless they pull a Sega Saturn launch.
Right? Has a cartridge slot. Oh. Oh, well, ladies and gentlemen, Nintendo's made physical hardware. There has to be somewhere to put the games.
Well,
Duh.
maybe they're hoping for the return of the UMD.
Right? Like, come on. Now,
so
whether
let's the cartridge slot. Let's talk about that for a second.
yeah,
So is this going to be like a DS to 3DS slot where it's switched to successor slot where it's a different shape but still allows you to put
I
both
think that's
cartridges in there?
what they're going. I think that's what they're going to do.
Okay.
Now, I would love for just be one slot, one cartridge slot, the same cartridges before.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
That's what I mean. Is like
but
the
if you-
3DS had that.
Like, look at the history of Nintendo. They have a precedence of doing this. I
They've
think if they
done
can,
too.
they will.
They have done too. Yes.
This is kind of what I'm hoping. I'm actually hoping for two separate slots. If it is backward compatible, I'm hoping they do two separate slots like they did like with the DS. The reason being, like Switch carts can go into the Switch slot and load like a Switch does. Switch successor carts, which may have more pins or just the ability to have faster transfers, which should be required considering these games are expected to be larger, just because that's how technology works.
Okay.
If you have more capabilities, you expect the games to be ultimately larger. So the more cartridge bandwidth, the faster the loading times. Which is then I'm also hoping for, SD card support. Will have the additional pins that the Switch doesn't have to support the ultra fast transfers of the newer SD cards.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So let me ask this then too. With the cartridge slot, we're talking about backwards compatibility, maybe having one slot for both, media.
One slot to rule them all.
Yes, or possibly two, like they've done before, like Jesse was hoping for. But the thought that sparked in my head earlier that I wanted to mention now, is it a possibility that the new console is not backwards compatible, but the dock is backwards compatible so that you put in your Switch in the dock and play Switch games, and you put in the successor in the dock to play?
I think you begin to lose the purpose of the Switch, which is the portability of it. And
No, it's still portable, but you just got two systems.
Well, I think that's the problem, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that becomes a challenge, the back catalog of games that they offer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think you ruin something in that. Like, here's sort of the thing, like,
I'm just scared of Nintendo. Nintendo does some weird stuff.
Nintendo's thing. Listen, Nintendo, hey, Nintendo, look over here, right here. Just have a real quiet, just you and I, okay? You don't need to do much. There's a couple things. We would love a really better processor. We would also really like a better chipset because we'd like to play some really good games. More expanded memory be great. Could you figure out Joy-Con drift? That's it. That's all you need to do.
Hall effect Joy-Cons.
That's all you need. That's all you need to do, and you can like it's pretty good. It's pretty good. You just need to fix just a couple things. Don't be stupid. Don't be like, what's our new gimmick? No, your gimmick is exactly what it was, which is it's a system that is portable and docks at home. That's all you need to do. You've done that. That's perfect. You just need to make it just a little bit more powerful. Little bit more. So you remember those third parties over here who were chatting about like conversion and wanting people to be on their console? Just let them. Give them some more RAM. Give them some more process. You know what the Steam Deck is doing? Not quite that bulky, not quite that heavy and battery horrible, but like that's sort of what you need to do. Just do that, and you're okay. And just fix Joy-Con drift, and you can be okay. Are you hearing me, buddy? Like, I'm telling you what you need to do. Just do those things.
Yeah.
All right.
Going back to what Tim said about the dock, I'd be okay if the successor can still use the existing docks in the same way. Because it's basically just it's a pass through to get system HDMI out and Ethernet in.
Yes.
Kind of the two main purposes of it. If the successor system won't fit in the dock, I would hope they design the new dock such that you can still put the old switches in the new dock. and still have the same benefits. Because I would like to have one dock at my computer and one dock at my big TV and be able to put in either system and it work. If I have to have two docks next to it, now I have more cables to mess with.
I really think, and of course my bit a couple moments ago, but I think that Nintendo is on a razor's edge here with this decision of what they're going to do. Because as much as I'm joking like about this, like, here's what you need to do. Legitimately though, like, don't rock the boat. There are a couple things Nintendo, like, we've all talked about the Super Switch or the Switch XL or whatever the hell you want to call it, Pro Switch. That's sort of all we're asking for. Like, if you could just do that and do that well and easily convert and transition your folks who are Switch based, you've got an incredible library, you've got sales momentum. Like, you don't want to start the race over again.
Yeah.
You've got, like, you are now the third best console. You have potential, depending on how you brand this and how you frame this. You can run this thing to 300 million.
Well, you were just talking about
right?
making it easy, right? So again, going back to your rant about making it easy, Nintendo, all you got to do, Switch 2.
Switch 2. But they're so concerned. like they have to be like, literally, we said the Wii and we put the letter U behind it and we like broke it. We broke it. Right? Like,
the Wii was already a tainted name before the Wii U launched by that point. The Switch is not.
Correct. But by that, the Wii was something different. Like, so
this will be a good first for Nintendo.
Yeah.
Be the first system. And kind of the same thing with Nintendo, because it was the Nintendo Entertainment System, and then they came out with the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. And that technically is the sequel name.
Yeah, you figured it out. It was the same thing, but super. It was better.
It was double 8-bit to 16-bit. So why? That's why I jumped on the Super bandwagon, Super Switch, because it's doing well and it should do that. So, but anyways, just do the 2. Do it the first time.
2.
You idolize Apple. Apple's done it with the iPhones. Just do 2. Switch 2. It won't hurt anybody.
I really hope that Nintendo genuinely does take sort of the Apple approach to this thing. And I think that they could. Again, like, you've got tremendous games, you've got a tremendous library. How easily you can convert, right? Like, anyone who comes in like on the Switch 2, you're like, oh, what games are to play? You want me to give you the 50 game backlog that you should be getting right now? Right. You want me to do that? Okay, we can do that, right?
Just
like,
get the top 10 list we just talked about. You're all set.
Well, and we've got 7 years worth of top 10 lists. We can share.
Exactly.
Right. Yep. So I think that's what Nintendo needs to do.
Whew. That was a good discussion.
Yeah.
But I'm excited about 2024, about seeing if that comes out. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think 2024 is right. Also, I want to stop this rumor right now. It'll probably come in the chat. Do you think they're going to show it off in Gamescom? No, they are not showing it off on Gamescom. If you hear any YouTuber who's like, oh, they're going to show it off on Gamescom, my insider tells me they're full of it. That's not show. You think Nintendo is going to tell you the new console that they're going to show you before their Christmas holiday season that's going to be out next year? That is the stupidest move that they could ever do. Because guess why? Because then you're not buying anything. Then you're not selling anything. Then you are like, all your sales are dried up. By the way, they don't want to do that. Guess when they're going to tell you it? Oh, they're going to tell you it in the season when their sales are the lowest, so they don't cannibalize any of their game sales. Why else do you think they're talking about the end of, or like the back half of next year? Yep. Right. That's why they're having that conversation.
And that's probably I think Q2 or Q4 are the 2 weakest quarters.
Yeah.
Because Q3 you got the holiday season.
You might see it at a special. There'll probably be a special presentation, but maybe Nintendo does their own E3 Direct thing in June to reveal it.
If there's anything going on at Gamescom, it'll be behind doors with NDA signed. We're not going to hear a damn thing about it. And that's Nintendo showing third-party developers, here's what we got. Buy our dev kits now.
And I hate to break Marty's heart. It's not being shown at the Nintendo Live event either. That's not like I'm going to be there. I'd love for it to be there. It ain't going to be there. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Yeah, well, I've been saying it's not going to be there because it's a 4-day event and you're only going to be there for 1 day.
Correct.
If they do the announcement on a day you're not there, you're going to be pissed.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
So they're not going to do it on any day.
As we get closer to the September event, we'll definitely be talking about that. That is a question in our discussion area for when we get closer to that. I want to know what your guys' opinion on what could they do? What could they possibly do at that time to better what they did at this last Direct? So think about that for the next discussion that we have. One last question in regards to this next console from Koopa Kid from our community. He asked, thoughts on exchangeable battery for the successor? Will Nintendo redesign Joy-Cons? I saw a lot of articles about, in general, portable devices in general need to have exchangeable batteries.
Because I think, I don't know which country, I think it might have been, but Europe. Yeah.
Europe just passed laws.
So so iPhones are going to have to do it. And then, Android phones always did it until they stopped. And now they're going to have to do it again.
That doesn't necessarily mean, though, that's a worldwide decision. Again, now Europe could be or I think I'm pretty sure. Do you want to just Google it? I think it's the EU. It might be the UK, though. It is Europe or the European countries are require this now. Doesn't mean that the rest of the world is going to take precedence on that. That just means that consoles that go to that region or are earmarked for that region have to have that option or feature available for them. So again, that may not,
unless it simplifies production. So if it simplifies to create one,
correct, that could be
thing, kind of like the plug thing when they had to move over to the USB-C plug. So.
It's the EU and they have until 2027 to apply. So it may, we're not going to, well, I would think if when Nintendo starts to do this, I think it might be worldwide because they still only have one shell to make instead of two shells.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a great point, Jesse. Yeah.
But this also means this isn't going to be right out of the box of the successor. It'll be a hidden battery just like the Switch is. The mid-gen upgrade probably will then have its battery.
And you'd have to check the law there, but it may be something along the lines of like, if there's a battery issue, you mail it to Nintendo and it's free and they replace it. Or is it like they have to be able to do their own battery replacement? I would have to look at the law to figure it out. The other part of it, the question is like, and will Nintendo redesign the Joy-Con? They may not redesign the like physical look of it. I can bet your bottom dollar they are definitely redesigning the guts of it. They are definitely putting in that has cost them a schwack ton of money that they did not want to lose. And so they are going to, like, your next Nintendo Switch successor, I'm going to tell you, those Joy-Cons are going to be the best controllers you have ever seen, because that has been a black eye for Nintendo and they do not want to screw around with that again. So the Joy-Cons are definitely getting a redesign.
See, if there's backward compatibility, that also means we're still going to keep the IR port. That's kind of meaningless. But if they do decide it's not going to be backward compatible, then I could see the new Joy-Con not having that IR port anymore.
I wouldn't be shocked again. I mean, I keep going back to the idea of like the Nintendo Switch successor or Switch 2. It's going to have rails. The Joy-Cons physically are going to look very similar with this kind of like, the slide ports and all of those things. Like those pieces are going to be the same, but it is the inner guts of this thing that are going to be absolutely changed, adjusted, maybe even bulked up in size, but like the actual, like this is not going to change. Like your controllers are going to work on the new Switch. I think your Joy-Cons are going to work on the new Switch, despite the fact that they're going to be like, you don't do that because your Joy-Cons are shite.
Yes, I agree. And I mean, it's wholly possible that they use those new, like I said, Hall Effect magnetic Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens, and I'm excited. This kind of stuff excites me when we get closer to a new release of a system. So especially when it's mobile devices.
And Most Bacon says the new Joy-Cons need a proper D-pad.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, moving on. We have a new game announcement for the Jackbox Party Pack 10, and the game that was announced is Dodo Re Mi.
Yeah,
Rock band like gameplay on your phone.
I don't know if I'm going to like this one.
Sounds interesting, but
with birds. That's
we'll
the
see.
dodo.
We'll see. Was it every even pack that was good?
Until it wasn't.
it wasn't?
I don't think there's been a really good pack since 5.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I
They
played
they
so.
they've all had one or two good games, but really 5. I think the last one that had most of them were good.
And then they just need to have an a la carte store where you can just buy the ones you want and maybe buy a new game or something. So, and then make your own party pack. I kind of did that before, but all right. Well, that's it for the news. We had a lot to cover there. So let's jump into our ad break.
Folks, supporters of today's episode of Nintendo Dads is brought to you by Manscaped. Today, we're here with a sponsor for your bouncing bundle of joy. And no, we're not talking about a baby. We're talking about your baby makers. That's right. Today's show is brought to you by Manscaped. But just like babies, your delicate little guys have sensitive skins and deserve the right products that are not only skin safe, but also with some safe ingredients, or made with safe ingredients. And that's where Manscaped's Platinum package comes in. From razors to shower care, these products go above the gold standard for your body hair. So treat your beautiful boys, the world's finest toys, at manscaped.com and use our promo code NINDADS, NINDADS, for 20% off plus free shipping. Now, I do want to say this right now. Manscaped, I was getting some ads. I get emails from Manscaped. They have a new product as well that I saw, and I thought, oh boy, that looks interesting.
That looked like it was up to your alley there, Justin.
It did. It absolutely did. They have a new razor.
Missed what this is. I didn't know there was a new product.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Oh, come on now. My website's being
It's an electric razor that they launched.
Electric razor.
Yep.
Yeah, that launched.
Ooh.
I've got to talk to our
peeps.
I was like handler. Handler is not the right word I'm looking for here.
Maybe it is. And it depends on who you are.
But interestingly enough, speaking of handler, this is known as the Handyman, which is a compact face shaver. And folks, now we haven't been sent this product yet. But boy, does this look great. If you are a person who does not like to shave, I don't like to shave. I like to just have a quick little trim. This looks like this is right up my alley. I am definitely going to reach out to our contact and see if I can get sent one of these, because you guys got those wonderful beard kits. Actually, I got one of those as well. But
I didn't get the kit, sir.
Oh,
you got the kit, sir.
Still upset about that. I see that. But by the way, I mean, of course, when I'm talking about maybe you're new here, like, kit, what are you talking about, Justin? What is this kit that you continually talk about? Well, of course, I'm talking about the beard hedger kit that not only includes the beard hedger, but has the beard hedger pro kit that has all these wonderful lotions and scissors and a beard comb for guys like, well, these gentlemen who have tremendous beards. I do not. I have just this 5 o'clock shadow all the time.
And Justin, you know how many times people said they loved your video on getting that kit?
Yeah,
because you got the full kit, and you're like, I need it for my beard.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. It was a kit that made me want to grow a beard. I was like, these smell so amazing. I legitimately want to grow a beard to use these kits on my beard, but it feels like that's not the way it's supposed to work there. But again, folks, head over to manscaped.com. Again, not only do they have these tremendous tools for shaving beards and quick compact shaves, they got weed whackers, they got nose hair trimmers. If you got hair in your body, they have got a trimmer for it. All right. And by the way, they are fantastic products. We have been using Manscaped now for almost 2 years. We love not only their actual products of like their machinery and their technology, but also their lotions, their body wash, shampoos, conditioners, deodorants, ball deodorants, chapstick. Manscaped makes tremendous products, and I think you would like them as well. Again, head over to manscaped.com, use the promo code NINDADS, NINDADS, for 20% off and free shipping. Yes, the floor will go to Mr. Timothy Alf.
use that code also to get the peak hygiene program.
Yes.
That's what I use. I don't have to worry about buying soap ever again because I am on their subscription plan using that code, and I get my body wash and shampoo through that program and every month. And I don't have to worry about
suffer to like head down to like the superstore or Walmart and get these weird body washes and soaps and conditioners that you're like, oh, I don't really love this. Just go on their peak hygiene plan, and legitimately these products are just mailed to you. And like, you can set the time, you can set the frequency, you can set what you want, you can go in and adjust. It doesn't get much easier. Like it's listen, we're guys, we're sometimes kind of stupid at these things. This literally makes it easy. And it's always easy when you use that promo code NINDADS, NINDADS, for 20% off and free shipping. Tim, back to you.
All right, it's time for a good discussion. We love to have these every now and then. Our topic for today is before the Switch goes out and a successor takes its place, are there any games missing in its library? Questions in that regard is games that should be there, games that should wait for the successor, and games you personally want on the Switch regardless of the previous two questions I just asked. To give you an example, Marty gave us some of his suggestions. Games that should be there, Marty suggested the remaining Zelda mainline titles. There's been no Star Fox this generation, and where's SNES Remix? Those are the type of things he would like to see there. Guys, what games should be there before the Switch goes out?
Marty just gave all the good answers. Because the first thing I thought of was Twilight Princess and Wind Waker. So
okay.
Before the Switch goes out, I struggle with this one because I think there's just been so much content. Like my default answer is like a new Donkey Kong Country, because really we haven't seen a new entry. We've seen a remake, right? With Donkey Kong Free. So I'd like to see what a new game would look like from them. I also would really love to see like a Nintendo Land, and I don't, that's not like a dedicated franchise, but I thought that game was really tremendous, and I thought that was great.
You want Wii music?
Nope, sure don't. I think that's a horrible idea.
We play. Second. You want we play?
No. I think we have Wii Sport, right? Yeah, I mean, I struggle to think of it. It was Astral Chain 2 would be interesting. See if they have a sequel around that. I think obviously like the Metroid games would be fantastic. I really kind of feel like the Nintendo Switch is a console that just keeps giving, right? Like I really struggle to be like, what is there?
And I think that's
what's left.
That's why I wanted to bring this up as a discussion, because there are so many things they brought to the Switch that Nintendo thought, and even third-party publishers thought to bring to the Switch, because hey, why not play these awesome games on the go? What other games are missing? What are we missing? That because it's hard to think sometimes now that most everything seems to have come there. One that I thought would be cool that should be there, but some people are saying, well, maybe now we should just wait. But I thought by now we would have had GTA 5 on the Switch. Maybe not as good of a version that you could play on the other consoles, but I think GTA 5 I thought would have been good on there, or maybe even GTA 4. We didn't get GTA 4 yet on there, right?
Yeah, well, even GTA 5 started in the PS3, Xbox 360 era. So
I was shocked we didn't get Red Dead. I was sort of shocked about that one.
Yeah, well, the rumor is Red Dead's getting a remake. Maybe we'll see that on the successor.
Yeah. A couple games being called out here in the chat. Also, PS chat. I'm going to come back to you in a couple moments for all y'all that are calling out my lack of beard. We're going to have a conversation here in a couple minutes. All right. Beer Cerveza says Punch Out. That's a good one. Of course, Chris HL talks about NHL 94.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for
Excitebite from Ninfrendo. Where is Dr. Mario? That is a great question.
The mobile game killed it.
Yeah.
Ooh, Excite Truck, like Nintendo said, an Excite Bike. Excite Truck would have been awesome to either
That's
have that game or a sequel.
Excite Segways.
Yes. Day one purchase for me.
Mo, and I'm not saying this one because you got me last time. Mo says, do we need a new Donkey Kong 2D or 3D? I'm going to tell you right now, Mo, my preference would be 2D. Would be my preference. So yeah. I mean, here's the reality of it, right? Like now Nintendo's like, hey, so we've kind of run out of ideas in the well of games we can go to. You guys just want to start doing some remakes? What about Mario RPG? Let's do this thing. Let's get this. What about another? Oh, Luigi's Mansion 2?
Yep.
Right. They're starting to really like look at their back catalog. The other reality of it is that like they've kind of said like almost, and I know there's some data that you can check, but like every game that was ported over the Nintendo Switch is pretty much done better than every pre the game before it. Like the Nintendo Switch has had the Nintendo Switch bump effect to all of their IPs.
Well, that's
there's
what happens
a few
when
that I
there's
think
10 times the hardware out there.
Yeah, I think there's probably some spatterings of maybe some cases that are not, but for the most part, like check the numbers. Everything has a pretty good sales number when it comes to Switch. So by the way, they're looking at every back catalog, and so I know there's conversations about like, oh, what about Wind Waker? What about Zelda? I don't know if they're going to come over. But by the way, when they do, they're going to be the best selling ones that they've ever done because they're going to put on the Switch and they're going to sell the most, right? And this is why Metroid did incredibly well. And it's why there's rumors of all the other Metroid. Like, just look back in the last 15 years and be like, what do you want from Nintendo? Golden Sun might be interesting. And I know that's coming to the GBA emulator, right? That was
NSL,
shown.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So that kind of makes me think we may not get an actual one because then that may just be cannibalizing or in
a sequel
before sequel, right? So
or a port of the DS version.
Yeah. So I think that's the other games that I think would be sort of interesting. And so I've been looking just like the home console. Now if you think of like the home console or the handheld console, do you remember the Mario and Donkey Kong games?
Yes.
Do you remember those?
I try to forget about them.
Mario versus Donkey Kong.
I think those would be fun.
Those would be fun.
Like cheap.
They have a collection. Do a collection.
Yeah, like a collection. I think those would be a lot of fun for them to bring across as well. So
my if it was to be one pick, I would want Samus Returns on the Switch. Because it was at the end of 3DS. Probably will be at the end of the Switch if they bring it over, but yeah, it would be Samus Returns because then you would have all the games I think on the Switch, all Metroid games in there.
It probably would work well just with the Dread engine, just new map.
Yeah.
So I love how angry people were about that. I can't believe they put this game on the 3DS. Why are they not putting it out on the Nintendo Switch? They had no idea the Switch was going to be successful.
Right.
No clue. Their last console was not. So guess what they're doing? It's called mitigating risk. They're putting games on both consoles because they want to save themselves in case one of them plunks.
Right.
Right. And so production of that game would have been so far along before you even knew the Switch. Like, it's not like, oh, we should just snap our fingers and that happens. That's not how game development works.
And they put so much into the 3D aspect of it too to make it work, which makes that game really awesome for sure. I love the way it looks in there. But
Beer Cerveza, also again, I love that name, by the way. Thirsty every time.
BBC.
I still want a Chrono Trigger remake.
HD2D.
Yes.
Oh, an HD2D would be fantastic. Yep. Sea of Stars, man, let me tell you, I am so hyped for that game at the end of this month.
For real. All right. Next is games that should wait for the successor. Marty's suggestion is games that should wait at this point should be Metroid Prime 4. No! I want it now. No. But as we said before, it's probably going to be on both systems.
Yeah, it's Metroid. Like when you think about it, you've got to have a solid launch lineup, and Metroid Prime 4 is not a launch lineup game.
You think the Untitled Princess Peach game would be a good one?
No, that's why it's on the Switch. No, I don't think that's a launch game either. Right? I think your launch game is the next 3D Mario game. It's Mario Odyssey 2. It's Super Mario Galaxy 3. It's some new 3D Mario. That's what that team's doing. right? And whatever the newest version of Mario Kart is, Mario Kart Ultimate Deluxe Triumph Infinity version, right? Where
I
they're
like the
just like
Triumph part.
it's a
That's awesome.
game as a service thing. Those are the launch titles that they're going to
Mario
do.
Kart 8 Deluxe Tournament Edition. How about that?
Yeah.
The tournament edition. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Games that should wait for any third parties that should just wait for the successor rather than trying to bring it to the Switch, such as Outer Wilds. I will just wait for the successor for that one.
I'm still waiting for Dragon Quest 3 HD2D to come out. So at this point, maybe that just
I wouldn't
put
be
that
shocked
on.
if you see, I wouldn't be shocked if you see Diablo 4
Yeah.
make a run with it. I think Nintendo and Xbox have had such a good relationship, and I think the Activision partnership has been pretty solid. So I wouldn't be shocked if you see that. That probably feels like a next gen console to happen there, especially the portability of it as well. I do not want to see another Xenoblade Chronicles game before the new. And I know there's like the Xenoblade
Fire Emblem.
Chronicles
Do you want
X.
a Fire Emblem?
Don't want any more of that, right? Like you need to stop it.
Pokemon. Maybe that's why we didn't get a Pokemon this year. It's going to be on the next one.
Sorry, we're not getting a Pokemon this year.
Not a new one. We got the DLC. We got the Detective Pikachu.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if the calendar pattern fits, we're not. Gen 10 will be 2025.
Right. Okay. COD will be
COD
on the new platform. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Call of Duty.
I think what else?
Game you personally want on the Switch, regardless of previous questions, such as Marty's example is all the games. I want to play everything portably.
I want Metroid Prime 4 on the Switch.
Okay. I guess I already answered that with the Dragon Quest 3.
The only reason why Metroid Prime 4 wouldn't be on the Switch is if Switch successor is backwards compatible.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
then there's no point, I think, in having
if it's backwards compatible, then this is sort of a moot conversation, really, right? You're just continuing the timeline of games being available. But if it is a hard like dead stop, then that's an issue.
I don't think Nintendo would do this because it isn't a Nintendo thing. But like Xbox, I think Sony might have even done it as well. But games that were PS4 and PS5, you buy the game once and you download the components that would best fit your system.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So you don't necessarily download everything. You only download the parts you need for the PS5, and you only download the parts for the PS4. So so the game could work on both systems, but the game would patch itself in a way that's optimized for each system.
So that makes me think of this question is, do you think there's some technology to be had in the cartridge area to where they keep selling new cartridges for the new system, but those cartridges would still work on the original Switch if it's a Switch 2? So like if a Switch 2, you buy a new cart, you buy Metroid Prime 4, you put it in the Switch 2, you get Switch 2 advantages. You put that same cart in the Switch, it plays at that level for the Switch.
It's possible by just like you put in Final Fantasy Remaster or the Pixel Edition, and you see 6 icons show up.
Okay.
So there just could be a Switch and Switch successor version of the same game on the cart, whereas the one that is not the target audience is just the key, and it has to download the rest.
Okay.
I don't think they'll put the full game of both systems on a cart, but like if it's primarily a Switch successor game, the data on the cart will be for that, but could let you download it on if you put it into a regular Switch.
Is the Nintendo audience ready for something like that?
I think it's going to be similar to like the Switch or 3DS XL, where it can play old 3DS games, but there is a specific set of games that this device can only play.
Okay.
And so I think that's what's going to happen. I think when you buy the platform, it has two cartridges, one that allows you to play current Switch games and one that allows you to play Switch XL games. And those Switch XL games are only available to play on that console, but you can also have all the back library as well. So
okay. So
I think
it's possible even though that didn't work too well for them when they did the Switch, the 3DS, I'm sorry, the XL.
I think the problem with the other one
or new 3DS,
you're having to design to the lowest system specs.
Okay.
And I think like the third party publisher commentary here is like, that's not going to work for us.
Yeah.
Right. So you need a more dedicated bump. You need a bigger processor, bigger chipset, all of those things to really do what they want to. And so that requires a dedicated channel for that, essentially. Right. So I think that's why they wouldn't do that.
Okay.
Which is my opinion. Right. I could.
No, it's good arguments both ways, I think, too. But like I said, Nintendo does Nintendo stuff, and who knows what kind of craziness they come out with to try to persuade you to get that next Switch. The Switch Max.
Yeah.
So,
Switch
whatever.
Max XL Triumph Edition.
So, any other ones that you would want on the Switch, regardless of successor? And what game you would want there?
I think it would be very interesting to see what does EA and Ubisoft do. Right? Do they start playing ball now? Right? Does Ubisoft start saying like, "Oh yeah, we've got our Assassin's." Are they
going to re-release Rayman 2 again?
Right? They
haven't done that in a while.
EA start talking about bringing over stuff like Star Wars, right? Some of these big titles.
Okay.
I think that would be very interesting to see what happens, right? And I think that's part of the and EA talked recently in their earnings call that they Activision talked. One of them talked in their recent earnings call that they totally missed the boat, and that
was Activision.
That they didn't.
That was Bobby Kotick
in it, and I think EA has also put out a statement of like, "Whoops."
Yeah.
So I think that they really don't want to.
We've been saying that for years.
Yeah. I think they don't want to miss the boat again. They want to be aligned with it as well.
What it was is those guys just started listening to our podcast. So, we'll give them a break.
We'll let you.
Yeah. Well, I understand. I can understand them not putting out a game in the first 2 years, but by the year 3, why were they still sitting on this? They could have started thinking about it to have something released on year 5, but then still that never happened, really.
Well, that's the thing I thought was interesting was when they announced EA Sports FC24 designed to work. Frostbite was designed to work on Switch, even after all those years of saying Frostbite won't work on Switch.
Mm-hmm.
But they got it to work.
How convenient.
It's like, okay, well, look what I'm doing. I pre-ordered it. I want to see how it ends up working. I don't play a lot of soccer, I'm not into soccer. I mean, I casually watch it, but I bought it because EA Sports is bringing out a game on the Switch that is significant, not just the stupid legacy stuff that they had before, but this is significant. So that's why I'm excited about that. But hopefully that is a sign that they will bring more support to the successor. Now, I guess going back to that original question, any games that you personally want on the Switch, regardless of previous questions, regardless of should it wait for the successor or should it be there, whatever. That just goes back to Metroid Prime 4, I think, what we were all talking about. So, because they announced it first year, right? 2017, Metroid Prime 4. I think it's only fair that it should be on the Switch.
Yeah. And if you're 6 years into development now and you've had to restart, which is a 4-year cycle, like I think.
Yeah. You might have a lot of upset people. Not saying there are a lot of people that will just be like, oh, Nintendo didn't give me my Metroid Prime 4. That's why I bought a Switch in the first place. No, I don't think so. But all right. That's it. Let's move on to the events.
Sorry, I just triggered everyone's Alexas, by the way.
Discord community events, The Table, which happens every third Friday of the month at 10 p.m. Eastern time. The community gets together at the table, otherwise known as our Discord voice chat room, where we like to sit around and discuss whatever is on our minds. It's a good therapeutic session for everybody. So we don't record it. It's not shared.
It's good therapy. We don't charge for it.
We all just chit chat, make up stories about each other, and have a good time. So, and every now and then we
Where there's
maybe
some
have a
weird
drink.
Nintendo Dads fanfic out there. All right.
Yeah.
You know who you are. You know who you are.
You want to join in? You subscribe to us via Patreon or Twitch, get access to Discord, and join in on a schwack load of events like the table and monthly mayhem. Speaking of monthly mayhem, we have to keep an eye out for the next mayhem event, which will probably be delayed because the Dads After Dark show is working on their next event, which is a Extra Life event coming up in August. So we may not get a monthly mayhem until after that's done, but we'll see what those guys are up to, and we'll keep you posted. Summer game shows. Nintendo Summer of Play Tour still going on to the end of this month. So go check out www.nintendo.com /events/play-events for details. And they are supposed to update that website in case any additional sites for the tour are posted. So
yeah, I just checked and they have not.
Okay. So, but if it's not in your area, keep an eye on it. You can also go to our website, our YouTube page, and see a video of us participating in one, or myself participating in one, to see what it was like. And also some people on our Discord have shared their experience as well of attending it. Gamescom opening night live is August 22nd, and Nintendo Live 2023 and PAX West happens Friday, September 1st through Monday, September 4th. And our one and only Justin will be going out there.
That's right. So if you're going, drop us a DM or send us an email, and look for me there. For I will be at PAX West on Friday, and I will be over at the Nintendo Live event on Saturday. And then on Sunday, I'm out and about in Seattle with my family. So if you see me out and about throwing fish in a market or doing Seattle-y stuff like drinking a coffee, come say hi.
Or if you are in Seattle, give Justin and his family some ideas of what to do out there.
That's exactly
standing out on the curb getting wet.
I can tell you right now, my wife has already got it all planned out. So,
okay.
But yeah, so excited but yeah, if you're there, please let me know. Like, I'd love to say hi, go for drinks. I think Mr. Adam Leonard is going. Is Adam staying in the same hotel with me as me? Maybe. It's exciting stuff.
That's cool. Yeah. So, and also too, as we get closer, maybe, as you figure out your itinerary, Justin, maybe there'll be a place you might figure out that you can say, hey, at this time I'll be here if you want to meet up or whatever. Figure it out.
100%.
So, all right. Extra Life events that we're already starting in the planning stages for, and our own Dads After Dark show friends, they got theirs already lined up for August 19th from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Mountain Time. You can watch them on Twitch. So if you're not already following them, go to twitch.com/Dads After Dark show. Twitch.tv/Dads After Dark show to follow them and be alerted to when they go live, anytime they do something live, but especially on August 19th. They also have a thing where for every $1 you donate, you get a lottery ball that will give you a shot at winning any of many prizes after the show is over. If you donate before the stream begins, select one of the hosts of this event, such as John, Drew, Coos, or Hambone. And for every game that dad wins, that dad you pick wins during the stream, you will get an extra set of balls that you give that'll give you 2x, 3x, 4x, and more chances to win. So keep that in mind. Plus, watch the stream live and be ready to answer questions and accept challenges to win eShop cash. All donations during their event go to Children's Hospital in Aurora, Colorado. So make sure you go check them out and donate at bit.ly/dads-in-denver-live to donate. We will put that on. We'll put this link up in our own.
Because speaking URLs are fun.
Yes. We'll put this URL out there for people to join, to be able to donate. We're also looking ways for people to follow us in our Discord, follow their donations in our Discord too. So stay tuned.
I do want to say, folks, their goal is to raise $250. They've already raised $100. Ladies and gentlemen, We know we ask you to dive deep sometimes into your pockets for great causes. There is no cause greater than Extra Life. We have talked about that before in regards to the support that our community gives. If you can do, I know, listen, sure, look at, we're going to be coming around in November. Listen, I'll make you a deal. Don't donate to us, but I want you to head over to Dads After Dark and I want you to donate to them. All right. Help these guys out. Again, a tremendous cause. They are literally part of our Nintendo Dads community. They're part of our stitches and our fabric of our DNA. They do tremendous work. So, ladies and gentlemen, head over to Extra Life, type in Dads After Dark, and let's help them reach that goal and do some amazing work for some children. And as Tim said, in November, we're going to be doing our Extra Life campaign. But if you could start early, man, we'd appreciate that. And they've got some great giveaways, great guys, great dads, and we're so excited for them, so proud of them as well. So if you can do that, man, I'd appreciate that.
Thanks, Justin. All right. Well, that's it for our events. Let's move on to Jesse's Minute. Do we have a bumper for that yet?
I haven't created the bumper yet for that, so I'll just hit the old one.
Pika, pika, Pikachu!
I hate you all.
Justin, did you know? I know you listened to the episode, but did you know that we changed the name of Jesse's Poke Minute to Jesse's Minute? Did you know that?
I do know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I kind of missed the fact that it's a Pokemon minute.
It's okay. It's okay, Justin.
It's been gone and it's just been hard on me.
All right.
Hard.
Well, we didn't totally annihilate
you're missing out on your nap time. Is that why?
I am. It's a good 60-second power nap. Middle of a Thursday evening that I need to make my week go better.
So this segment is designed to be able to let Jesse share all his crazy stuff that he's into, right? Give him a chance to talk about it because he has some good stuff to share, such as if there's any Amico news he could share, or but we don't have any of that either. Or if there's any new old tech he picks up, like those games you got.
Yeah, I can show those real quick, though it's probably not going to show up really well. On Sundico, I picked up 2 lots of Famicom Disk System games. So one has 6, one has 4. I don't even know. I haven't even inventoried all of them yet. This one shows the back, so I don't even know what it is. But what games I do know that I have is a Transformers Headmasters game that we never got in North America. I have professional wrestling. I have a disc that has an ice hockey label on it, but it's been cannibalized to install Galaxian and Xevious on it, which probably is the better deal. But you don't even know what those are. And then Lost Levels is on one of the discs. So one of these days I'm going to open these up and actually figure out what games they are. And I also created an account on an app. Let me unlock my phone so I can see what the name is, called Retro Game Collector. And I told it to download lists of Famicom Disk System games, lists of Intellivision games, and what was the third one? A list of Virtual Boy games. And then I'm able to go in and say, I own this cart only, and I own the full box set of this, and then it'll kind of estimate its value. And so I'm kind of starting to put together that library. And I've got a crap ton of loose carts on the Intellivision that I have no idea what I even own anymore. So that way when I go to places that has Intellivision carts in stock, I can go, here's my phone. I can see, do I own this one? I do. I don't need to buy it again.
That's always good to have at our age, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's easier to remember if I own one of 22 Virtual Boy games. It's less difficult to know it's more difficult to know if I own one of 125 Intellivision games.
Yes. So there's a great example of how we use Jesse's Minute now. And also, it's not just for Jesse. It's if any of us have anything new to share too, that's outside of games itself or games we play. But Justin, you have anything new you want to share?
I got in the chat here. There's some requests. Chris HL94 wants me to talk about some maple syrup minute. Ninfrendo talks about poutine and fries. Tim Hortons is also on there. So I'm going to take, of those 3 topics, I'm going to take poutine. Poutine and fries. Ninfrendo, get out of here. All right. I know you're not a Canadian by that commentary because poutine is fries. It's not poutine and fries. All right. So just
Poutine
hold it
is
back a
fries.
little bit. All right. Let's talk about poutine. If you're in Canada, and I know recently our good friend Christian was in Canada. He said he couldn't find poutine. Christian, I need to stop for a second. Time out. I need to apologize to Christian because I should have reached
On
out to
behalf
him.
of Canada.
Oh, well, yeah. Sorry, Sorry on top of Canada that you couldn't find anything, Christian, you're in Banff, right? Banff is 3 hours from me, Christian. Like, I should have come up and seen you, pal. I should have come up and said hi to you, took you around for some poutine and some Tim Hortons. So I apologize for that, I hopefully you enjoyed our great Rocky Mountains and Lake Louise and all of those things, but let's talk about poutine real fast here. If you're looking for fast food poutine, all right, because every fast food joint here pretty much serves a poutine. I'm going to tell you, and if my Canadians are in the chat, they're going to support me on this. Best place to get a fast food poutine, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, it's Costco.
I was going to say the Costco, because we've talked about them before.
Poutine. It's like $4.50. It is a massive amount. The fries, they're Cavendish fries. They are cooked perfectly. A great amount of cheese curds in there. The gravy is spread nicely. You put the lid on it to go, and it just melts it. And it is gooey greatness. And it is, man, let me tell you. Mecha Dragon asks, you can get poutine at McDonald's. You used to be able to. I think you still can. It's not great. It is not great. I'm going to tell you that right now. Fast food restaurants have a challenge of making good poutine. Dairy Queen is actually a pretty good poutine. My wife really enjoys it, but I'm going to tell you, dollars for dimes, the best poutine you're going to get on a quick basis with like short amount of cash. Costco.
New York fries was pretty good. Fair.
New York fries is a pretty good poutine as well. Yeah, not good. Yeah, and again, why? Because the fries is the star there. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? The fries has to be the star. I mean, all the ingredients have to be critical.
Yes,
but a good fry is critical.
Kind of, not poutine, but it reminds me of one of my favorite bar foods when I used to run a poker game before they took it away. They called it hillbilly nachos.
Okay.
But instead of your traditional nacho chips, they used waffle fries. And that was just epic. And then they took the waffle fries away to turn it into in-shop cut potatoes, and then they were just crap.
That's like the tachos. I like tachos. Where you get their tots smothered in stuff.
When I was in Ireland, the equivalent of poutine would be chips, cheese, and curry. So it's fries,
good.
Cheese, and then a curry sauce spread all over it. And that is a great meal when you stumble out of the pub at about 2 a.m. because you're looking for some soakage. Right.
Yeah.
But it also the curry smell is strong. Let's say one night I may have come home after a couple of pints.
Theoretically speaking,
I may have stopped for some chips, cheese, and curry, came home at 2 a.m. and we had 2-level split. My wife was upstairs in bed. I was downstairs in the kitchen eating my chips, cheese, and curry. And that smell permeated the house, that curry smell. And then I came to bed, and you've been drinking, right? You've had a couple pops. You've got the smell of curry on your breath, and you kind of like roll in the bed and be like, ugh, and you just burp. And she's like, I could have strangled you.
I'm surprised you're still alive today.
The house stunk of curry.
Surprised you're still alive today.
Yeah. 20 years of marriage almost here, folks. But
same here. Same here. Yeah. Nice. All right, so my share is I had the fixture device, the fixture accessory.
Yeah.
It's that accessory that allows you to just dock your screen to the Pro controller, essentially, so that you don't use Joy-Cons, you use your Pro controller. But since the OLED came out, it wasn't compatible with their first generation fixture device. And I never picked up the new one. But I did recently, and I just got it in the mail, and so I got my my Zelda Pro controller hooked up to it, and I've got the OLED switch on there, and it sits on there nicely. And I've been playing my games this way, and man, I do love these shoulder buttons better than the Joy-Con shoulder buttons when it comes to like racing games or any other games that require those triggers. Nice fat triggers on the Pro controller helps. So that's why I wanted to pick up the fixture S2, and it still fits in the original case that it came with too. So
Fixture
everything-
is such a great device, eh?
yeah, it is a great accessory. So if you ever, it was $25.
Is
I
that
think.
on our website of the best things that you should buy for Nintendo
It
Switch
was at one
accessories?
point. I don't know if it still is, but I think it was. I think I had it on there at one point. So, and there's a lot of stuff I am able to still fit in the case too. It's a pretty thick case. So I got some games in there and a couple of my accessories. So, yep. Highly recommend it, especially if you love using a Pro Controller but want something on the go. This allows you to play your Switch on the go, but still with your Pro Controller. So,
Nice.
all right. That's it for Jesse's minute. Now let's move on to what we've been playing.
Do it.
All right, sweet. So Marty's not able to be with us today, but he did share a couple of the games he has been playing in our pre-show. He talked about Tiny Thor and Brotato. So if you have access to our pre-show, and how do you get access to our pre-show, gentlemen? You have to
Well,
pay.
of course, you head over to patreon.com/NintendoDads. Oh, yep, that's how you do that. Yep. I was
Yes.
nope, that's right. That is correct. That is the right answer.
That's how you get access to the pre-show. I think you got to be 5 and above, I think. So, but you can hear his take on it. I think he's probably going to drop a video at some
pre and
point.
post show is $10.
$10. Okay. Thanks for clarifying that, Jesse. So you can hear that, but he's been playing Tiny Thor and Brotato. But Justin, you've also been playing Tiny Thor.
I have, yes. I've also been playing Tiny Thor. I've got 3 games we can talk about. I'm going to be super quick because I know we like to keep this kind of condensed and quick. I'll start with this. Tiny Thor. I have a video out right now. First look, it is a platformer, 16-bit. It is very fun, very cool. The use of Mjolnir, the hammer, that feels so cool. That feels so fun. Love the challenge. It is a hard game. It literally says at the beginning of it, this is a hard game. It says Tiny Thor is a difficult game. But there is some accessibility that allows
that's better
for you
than the other game that we played a few months ago where it says this game is not yet complete.
Right. There is some accessibility options for you to change and scale and basically kind of like put on some hey, I'm invincible, and it allows you to kind of find your way through it. Very similar to kind of what I would see in Celeste. But I've really enjoyed it. It's very cool. It's out now. And I would highly recommend it. The other game I've been playing, it's on our channel as well, is Disney's Illusion Island. We got this game 2 weeks early, so I was able to actually do a proper review for it as well, so you can check that out. Disney's Illusion Island is a ton of fun. It's a Metroidvania game. Love the art style. Took me about 7 hours to complete the main game, but I've only completed about 72%, so there's a little bit more that you can sort out and figure out. Ton of fun, up to 4 players, lots of scalability in regards to challenges. You can choose how many difficulties and hearts and hits you get. Very Metroidvania though. Very you literally have to get other skills to be able to open different areas to go into. It does scale up. It does get hard. Interestingly enough though, there is no combat. It is kind of puzzle, agility, ability solving is what you need to do. Highly recommend it. It's a ton of fun. And of course it's Disney, so it's family clean. So check it out. We do have a video up on our YouTube channel, which is my review of it, plus my 5 favorite things about the game. So you should definitely check that out. Big thanks again to that team who actually, like I said, gave us a code 2 weeks early, which is sometimes really uncommon, and allowed us the ability to really create good content around it. And hopefully everyone else here has enjoyed it. The other game I've been playing is Pikmin 4. And I know Jesse, you've been talking a ton about that. Big thanks to Nintendo for providing us a review copy for that as well. I've been loving it. Jesse, I think you've shared before, there are 4 biomes, right? Areas. I have completed 3 of them. I am in the final one. I have not 100%ed all of them. I'm at 94, 94, 97, and now I'm in the final, the 4th biome. I've been absolutely loving this game. There's so many additional parts of it that you can do, all the quests, the side quests that they have, the night battles with the glow Pikmin, the Dandori challenges. There's a lot that you can squeeze out of this, and that's even before I've done any kind of multiplayer. I have absolutely been loving Pikmin 4. I can guarantee you it is going to show up in my top 10 games of 2023. I would highly recommend it. Man, I just absolutely love it. I think that that they have really just like the improvements they made, the changes they have just made an absolutely tremendous game. I would highly recommend it. Those are my games. I just like devoured through quickly.
All right, thanks, Justin. All right, the games I've been playing, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, I've been slowly chipping away at that. You know, of course, I got to take 5 years to play it, so of course I am. Blanc, I did a first look at that. It's on our YouTube channel as well. I know it came out back in February, but we got a review code, so we thought we'd check it out and share it with you guys in case you weren't aware of it or didn't have a chance to look at it yourself. So go take a look at that. That is a narrative game, by the way. Best with 2 players, I would suggest as well. That was also suggested by our friends over at Dads After Dark as being a better when played with someone else, and I agree. So great couple game, if you will. So check that out, Blanc for the Nintendo Switch. Madshot, I've been playing more of that. That is again a shooter roguelite game where you have to make runs with your, and you build up on your run to try to get through bosses and get as far as you can. Been loving that game. It's been a good break and going to play something fast paced when wanting something like that instead of doing Tears of the Kingdom, which is more of exploratory and stuff like that. So Madshot's been great for that. I do have 2 videos on our channel for that. One is our first look, which is missing my audio. So if you don't want to hear me talk while showing off the video, then go watch that video, which is funny because a lot of people are watching that more than the Let's Play video that I did follow up on showing what I've learned about the game and me actually talking in it. People are like, oh crap, he's talking. Let me go back to the first look and where he's not talking and watch that. But yeah, there's 2 versions of it. There's my first look, which shows you kind of like the first beginnings of what I find out in the game for Madshot. And then I do a Let's Play where I share what I've learned while I've been playing that game and hopefully helps you out too. So we'll check those out. Since Jesse's, he talked about this game last week, Patrick's Parabox. Last week you talked about playing that game, Jesse, and got certain.
I did.
Yeah, so
my brain still hurts.
After listening to you talk about that game, I downloaded the demo. There's a demo on the Nintendo Switch. I downloaded that, and I think it does hurt your brain because there's a lot of inception going on there, and so I think it's a lot of fun. It's one of those things that works your brain. So check that one out.
I kind of compared it to Baba Is You. Do you think it exercises that same part of the brain?
I think so. Yes, especially because you have to try to think ahead.
And I didn't get far in that game either.
Yep, that is a fun game. And if I try to give a brief summary of that one, well, Jesse, you've got a video on this one, right?
Yeah, there's a video for I think there's 30 or 40 stages completed until I literally run out of stages I could solve at 11 o'clock at night.
Check out Jesse's video of him, just losing steam there. But basically it's a puzzle game where you have to figure out how to move boxes within each other and outside of each other to solve a puzzle. As I can put it. And then I also downloaded Hyper Meteor, which I just uploaded a video to our channel for, and it'll be out soon once it gets scheduled.
Tomorrow it'll be out.
Yep. So hopefully tomorrow, or by the time you're listening to this, the recording, Hyper Meteor is basically a newer version of Asteroids, if you will. First came out on the Playdate, the little handheld device that's kind of like a Game Boy, and was released for the Switch recently on the 27th of July, I think it was. And it's, again, like an Asteroids, but instead of blasting the asteroids and your enemies, you smash them with your ship. So, but you also
sounds unsafe.
You have to watch out for the dark side of the asteroids or your enemies. Otherwise, that's how you get destroyed. So you have to hit them on their light side to destroy them, either the asteroids or the enemies. And you have to also watch out for enemies that shoot at you. So it's a high score game. Best score gets you the high scores. It does have some achievements that you can unlock. And my first look at it, I could not tell whether or not you can compare your high scores with, say, other people you know. But there is a general high score list. So I'm going to be diving into that more as we go on here. But again, look for that first look as well on our channel.
I would really encourage people, like, if you haven't subscribed to the Nintendo Dads YouTube channel, you should. Right, there's a lot of content there for you to take a look at, whether it's our first looks, whether it's our unboxings, right? Other games I would call out that were added up recently, Venba, we got a first look on there as well. The Master's Pupil, Marty did that as well. Koa and the Five Pirates of Mara. So there's just been a ton of content that's where we put it. And I know that behind the curtains, I'll tell you right now, I think almost all of us have a code that we're working on for content creation. So there's gonna be more of it. Yeah, Tim, you got 2. Marty's got 2, right? And so there's a lot of content coming out from us. Plus, we've got other content creators who also put out videos. So if you're looking for content on games that recently dropped, we may have it on our channel. Check it out. We try and get content out for you to help make your decisions on these purchases as well.
I just looked at the stats, and about a third of the people who watch our videos are subscribed. So majority of them are
only
not.
a third. Only a third.
And that's higher than I've seen. I've seen some channels say that it's only been 10%.
Wow, I love how on the fly Jesse was able to get that information. So
good.
speaking of those 2 codes that I'm going to be working on, I can only say the name, but be on the lookout by this time next week. I'll be able to talk about them and hopefully have videos dropping soon. That is on Legend Bowl, which is a football game, American football game for the Switch. I'm trying to hold my excitement back. Unidentified falling objectives. Or objects, excuse me. Unidentified falling objects is another game that I have a code for that I will be able to talk about more next week and have a video for it, everybody next week as well. Those are what I've been playing. Jesse, how about you?
All right, so I finished Pikmin 4. I'm done. I'm not going to be playing the game anymore unless down the road I chooses to replay it from scratch. I've been purposely not talking about things that could be spoilers. So Justin will be surprised when he sees things. But just to kind of give you an idea, I rolled credits at about 16 hours. And my done state is 52 hours. So there's post-game content in this thing.
I love the look on Justin's face there.
Yeah, we talked about the Dandori. This isn't new from last week. The Dandori battles, Dandori challenges. There were, I think, 2 challenges and 1 battle that I couldn't beat myself, but the game gives me the option of just continuing the story anyway, just to get the credit to continue with the story. But in order to get the side quest credit for it, you have to not only complete them, but get gold or better. So still those 3 missions, I still can't even finish, much less get gold. But other than that, I have completed everything there is to do in the game. I have 100%ed every area. I have gold or better every other battle and challenge. I'm not going to worry about platining on everything. I don't care about that. I did the requirements for the side quest.
My objective is to have it done before Sea of Stars pops off.
Oh, done. Yeah.
Done main story. That. I'm not doing all the collectible crazy stuff after. Okay. Now, if there's a post story, then I may. But I have got. It says here my counter says I have played for 10 hours or more. I can guarantee you it's more.
Yeah, you're probably in the where you are in the game. You're probably in the 13 to 14 hour mark, which if that lines up with about the 16 hours it took me to roll credits.
Yeah, I'm at a point now. I would say like so I've done a couple of days. I think 2 days in the 4th biome, right? Again, and it's like 2%, and I was like, son of a bee.
Yeah, well, the most in all the areas, not just the 4th one, the majority of the treasures and your percentages are in the caves.
It's in the caves.
Yeah. So once you knock the caves out, then that percentage is going to spike.
Yeah, for sure. So
because some of those caves have 50 to 80 toys to collect.
Yeah.
So they take a while. But one of the nice things about those caves, which I think is new with 4, you couldn't do it in 2, is you can leave the cave in midway through and then come back at the point where you left. You don't have to do the whole cave in one blow.
It so feels like they've done some just amazing quality of life stuff. Like when people are like, I gotta jump into Pikmin 1, I was like, ew. Pikmin 4 is kind of like the best versioning of like they've learned all their lessons and they've made it so much stronger.
Yeah, because I remember when I tried replaying Pikmin 2, and yeah, that's rough. Like compared to what I'm used to from 3 and 4. Then so about 52 hours to say I've done everything I wanted to do with that game, and then I went back and started finishing up Picross S9. That I kind of fell off because of Zelda, and well, hell, it fell off because of Final Fantasy, and then that fell off because of Zelda. So, so I have all the puzzles done there except for like the regular Picross puzzles. I went with the Mega Picrosses and the colors first, and then so I still have like 100 of the Picross puzzles to go, and then the 5 super large ones I have left. So, I'm kind of slow rolling that one just because I have multiple trips coming up this month and into September. I expect to be using that to fill time. I would have went into Final Fantasy and continued that, but knowing WrestleQuest is coming next week, I didn't want to start anything big, so I decided to just jump back into Picross. Then I'll do WrestleQuest, and then I'll go back to Final Fantasy, and we'll see what else comes out in September that I'm interested in.
Cool.
Yup.
All right. So if that's it for what we've been playing, let's move on to Community Spotlight.
Let's do it.
Guys, one of my favorite things that I love to find out when we get lots of people in our chat is connecting chat names with people names. And I just found out by reading our chat that Chris10AB in our chat is Christian, who leaves our voicemails.
Hey-o.
So Christian left a question in our chat saying before he left, he said, have a great night. But also his daughter, Tegan, by the way, Christian, my daughter, Sophie, her middle name is Tegan. So that's pretty cool. I think it's even spelled the same way as your daughter's. Also, my daughter, Tegan, wants to know, what's your favorite ending for Zelda? Guys? So far, especially if you haven't beaten Tears of the Kingdom yet. I know, Jesse,
Tears of the
have.
Kingdom is up there. I'm not going to say anything more than that because I know other people haven't seen it yet. But so scratching that off the list, I'd say Wind Waker.
Okay.
I was a fan of A Link Between Worlds.
Yeah, that one's good. That was good too.
They're all pretty good, right? Like sort of like what's your it's like what's your favorite of the Marvel movies? You're like, well, they're all pretty good. Like I can't really be wrong.
On Zelda and Zelda 2 are probably the least, just because they're least in the story department anyway. Yeah, you won. Title screen.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's. I'm gonna agree with Link Between Worlds. I'm gonna agree with that one.
Hey, look at that.
So, all right. So, well, while we're on Christian, why don't we go ahead and play his voicemail?
Hey, Nintendo Dads, it's me, Christian. So I have a question for you. So this is my dilemma, actually. My family and I have enjoyed Zelda Tears of the Kingdom so much that we have almost completed the entire game. We're pretty much completionists when it comes down to games that we like. And, I got all the Korok seeds. I got all the Addison stops. I got all the Lightroot shrines and Sage's wills. I got almost everything. I just got maybe like 0.5% left of the game before I actually go and defeat Ganon. And my dilemma is, I don't want to. I feel like, after we defeat the game, I feel kind of like, oh man, the game's over. I don't know what else to do. Sort of felt the same way with Breath of the Wild, and luckily we had DLC, and I'm hoping that we get DLC for this game, because you know what, the story is really great, and the gameplay was awesome, and so many fun memories with my family and friends playing the game. The first encounter with Gloom Hands, oh man, the entire house screamed in terror, just running away. Anyways, guys, my question to you is, has there been a game that you felt like you were almost at the end and didn't want to complete because you would never see the game again, or maybe not go back to the game for a while because you would miss it? All right, guys, that's my question. I hope you guys are having a great time. Thanks again for all your awesome hard work, and we'll talk to you soon.
That's a great question. And it's actually, sorry, my cop-out answer isn't a cop-out, but I'll say, Christian, Breath of the Wild was actually that for me. I had completed all 4 of the Divine Beasts. I had everything I needed to go kill Ganon, and I was like, I don't really want this to end, so I'm going to not. Right. And I think, Tim, that was probably a little bit of the scenario that you were in too, right? It
is the exact same thing. The exploring, it's just like so much fun. And then when you go into focusing on the story and then you are at that point where you're like, okay, I could go face the ending right now and get that done. But then you're like, but then will I still play with the same, I don't know what the word is. I'm trying to say
the same joy in some ways, right?
Yeah,
the same
joy or same
connection,
intensity,
the same escapism, right?
Yeah,
I mean, because that's the thing.
Will
right?
it feel the same?
Yeah, ultimately in video games we play to escape, right? And so the world that is created is something that we enjoy, and I think in some ways it's kind of like that. Like it's like your favorite TV show or series that kind of comes to an end, right? You're like, wow, what an amazing journey. I'm sad, and it's been something that's been emotional, and I think especially video games, and I think especially Christian, listening to what you're experiencing with your family of like playing together as a family and doing like I'm going to throw on I don't have a therapist hat. I'm going to throw on the Zach therapist hat, right? which is I wonder if it's less about the end of the game for you, Christian, and more about the end of that experience as a family. Right, that's maybe holding you in that moment, and because that joy that you're all experiencing, that adventure, that connection, that time together, maybe that's the thing that you're valuing more than the end of the journey in Hyrule with Link. And so I don't know, just a bit of a thought there, but I think
you'll be back.
You'll be back.
That DLC is coming, and you'll be back.
Yeah. But it's great. I love the fact, Christian, that you share with us like how much joy you have with your family and your kids in these video games together. And that's really about like that's kind of like the idea of like what a Nintendo dad is sharing these joys. And so thank you for sharing that with us as well. And so I would be very curious about like, what is the next journey that you and your family are taking? What is the next thing you're the most excited for, right? Is it Super Mario? Is your family just really into Zelda? So yeah, let us know. And again, I'm so sorry that I missed you while you were in Banff. So.
And he did say in our chat that they did actually beat it. So he was trying to make that their dilemma. He mentioned in the voicemail, but in our chat now he did.
Yeah, he sent the voicemail earlier in the week, like Monday, like Monday-ish. So
he came on to tell us that they beat it. So nice. I think I remember, and I could be wrong, might be confusing it from what somebody else said, but I think he said that they were going to move on to Pikmin, or Pikmin was in the lineup.
That'd be a great one to do together with kids, especially that 2-player mode and stuff like that. Pikmin's such a great game. I'd be curious. Maybe I would encourage, depending on the age of his kids, Christian, maybe try Disney Illusion Island. That's a great 4-player game, right? And there's a lot of like working together. So
and then he gets we get an angry voicemail. Like, he told us to play this.
This is the worst game ever.
We've been fighting ever since we got this game.
Yeah. I haven't tried the 2-player mode in Pikmin 4, but it's kind of like, like what people joke is the girlfriend mode in Galaxy. It's, you're just chucking pebbles at things.
My wife did such a great job at that thing.
Really? I haven't tried it, so I don't know what it looks like.
in the galaxy spitting the lumas or the star bits at him. Oh my gosh, Jody loved that. It was great. I loved it. She's like, let's play Mario together. I'm like, I don't really know if this is us playing together, more as me really like sweating it out here trying these levels, and you're spitting these things across the screen. But in all fairness, she was actually really helping out a lot. But I'm like, my palms are sweaty. She's like, oh, we did great. I was like, what is this we shit? Somehow I'm still married and we don't know why.
Yeah. I tend to have the like the backwards problem of that, where and kind of the same thing happened with Tears of the Kingdom with this, but it's happened with latent games, Ace Attorney games, and the first time I played through Ghost Trick, where I'm like, I want this story to end, and if I need to like go to a walkthrough just to see what the puzzle solutions is, just to go I can continue the story, that's what I'm going to do. So, I didn't 100% Tears of the Kingdom, but I did get pretty deep in. I got over 80 side quests done. I had 130 shrines done. I got over 100 light roots done. And by that point, I'm like, I am ready to have this thing done. Yeah. So that's when I went towards the end route.
Makes sense.
All right, great questions as usual. Great voicemail. Thanks, Christian. We have a few questions left from our Discord, starting with BBC. I'm going to start calling him BB Cerveza. Yes, beer. Do any of you have a favorite cup, glass, or mug that you drink from while gaming? And also, what is your drink of choice while gaming?
Yeah,
I
don't.
This
really,
Yeti cup is my favorite.
Yeah, I've got a Yeti tumbler as well. That it's just because that's the cup I have down here. If this goes upstairs and I grab another cup,
I carry this thing around me all the time because I can put all kinds of stuff in here.
Mine's not a Yeti, just drink water.
Mine's not a Yeti, but mine's an Igloo. I think the important thing for gaming with cups is a lid.
Yes.
It's like critical. That's my number one tip.
It keeps your drink cold.
Yep.
That's what this does.
Favorite drink. I'll depending on the gaming session, I'll have like one of those like glitch energy powder drinks or whatever it is, or Dubby, stuff like that. That's usually my go-to thing. Occasionally maybe a beer or a pop, but typically not. So that's my go-to. But I don't have a favorite. It doesn't have to be a cup, just as long as there's a lid on it. I'm not down here with a pint glass like spilling. I don't like
it definitely depends on the game and the time of day too. For the
more than once while I was in VR, I knocked over my tumbler, and while I still have it open, but instead of this all dumping out, it was just trickle. So it didn't spill too much before I could pick it up.
Yep. So if we need any more sponsors, Yeti can sponsor a Nintendo Dads thing. No.
I'm not opposed to it. Hit us up. Hit our DMs open.
Right.
Actually, I don't know if our DMs are open, because now if you're not certified on X, your DMs, you can't do that.
Oh, come on. That's so stupid. I forgot about that.
Our Facebook are open.
Facebook is open. Email us at nintendodads@gmail.com. Justin's frozen.
Justin that's kind of an unfortunate pose.
Can we get a picture of that?
I just did
that. Okay, nice. Yeah, I got to get a picture of that.
Nintendo Dads
Welcome back. Or not.
Or maybe. I don't know. Man.
I think we lost him. He's back.
There we go. We'll have to share that look with you later, sir.
It might be part of a thumbnail.
All right. So drink of choice. Like I said, it depends on the time of day, but it's usually going to be something zero. So like Coke Zero, like I had just during the show. I had my cherry Coke Zero during the show today, or it could be Mountain Dew Zero. So, or if it's earlier, then it's coffee with zero sugar creamer.
Mine's normally just water.
And somewhere in between there's some water. Yeah. So I guess, I got to try to stay hydrated. All right. Next question is from John from the Dads After Dark show. What's your favorite cereal, gentlemen?
So, yeah, mine is. Have you heard of Crave? Spelt with a K.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they have a vanilla flavor and a chocolate flavor where it's like a big Captain Crunch piece, but the inside is like a chocolate, almost like a chocolate fudge, but not quite. But
Yes.
and then once that's milk soaks in, it's just almost melts in your mouth. And I like it. I
Nice.
like the chocolate.
If I'm being an adult, mini wheats. If I'm being a kid, Lucky Charms.
There you go. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, one of my favorites, and also the Raisin Bran Crunch.
Nice.
So those are my favorites. Great question, John. Darth Platypus asks, if you were to set up a Nintendo Gamer Championship, what games, levels, challenges would you have included?
I'm gonna say Dr. Mario has to be in there.
Yes.
You have to beat my wife.
Yes.
That doesn't sound good.
That's it.
That
right
does
there.
not sound good, but you know what I mean.
I think Mario Kart has to be in there.
Challenge my wife. Is that better?
There you go.
And I want speed runs of the original Mario Brothers to Bowser. Like you have to finish the original OG Mario game.
Okay. That's
I'm
crazy.
thinking, like, defeat the blue, like, Zelda 2, the dark nuts that have the stabbies, the swords, and the blue ones will throw them. But in the final dungeon, they're like, they have like a bird face and they jump around like crazy. So like that's
Did you
the
say
challenge.
Dark Knights or Dark Nuts?
Nut.
Okay. Gonna let
Is
that one be.
It is a nut?
Yes.
A dark nut?
Yes.
No,
Okay.
I'm just gonna let that one be. I'm just gonna let that one be.
Okay. All right. All right. Hope we gave you some good ideas, Darth Platypus. Let us know how your Nintendo Gamer Championship goes. All right. Next up, why did that pop up in front of my screen? All right. With everyone creating, this is from Mecca, with everyone creating their own Twitter killer app. Now, how would the Nintendo Dads create their own social media app? What would a Nintendo Dad's Twitter app look like? So
the Nintendo
basically,
Dad's,
what would we replace X with?
Yeah, the Nintendo Dad's Twitter app would just, the only way you could respond or post would be GIFs. That's it. That's it. There's no other context. There's no hashtags, just GIFs.
Okay.
Right? Of like that would be all you could do. And it would be the symbol would be a Pokemon symbol with like the Ghostbusters circle X crossed out of it.
Oh, all the copyright claims.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, this question probably spawned off of our conversation from last week where we kind of complained about the Twitter changes over the last several months.
Yeah.
So based on that, I would want the thing that is missing now, which why I don't use Twitter hardly anymore, is the ability to have a desktop app that constantly refreshes itself instead of me having to F5 on a web page. I don't want to do that.
That's fair.
Just bring back the original Twitter before X came about.
Right.
Bring
TweetDeck back. That's basically what I was using.
Bring us Twitter before what's his
Elon
name
Musk
took over.
messed it up.
Elon took it over.
Yeah.
That's we'll reinstate that. That'll be Nintendo Dad's Twitter. All right. That's it from the community. And again, shout out to everybody who joined in on the chat. Thanks for everybody stopping by, like Quag and DJ Hazel and Mecca. Chris, of course, we mentioned he stopped by, and we had Sean stop by. We had Infrendo. All kinds of people will stop by. Thank you so much. We still got 6 hanging out with us now, so thank you very much for hanging out with us. And I know Justin, you shouted out a few people earlier, so thank you again as always for supporting us. We appreciate it. And so that's it for the show, gentlemen. You got anything else?
No, that's it. Thanks. Good show, guys. Good show.
Good show. All right. First, a huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Dave Ernsberger, RJ Kern, Jacqueline Amira, Solo Something, as well as to our other 90 plus Patreons. Next, a special thank you to our 12 Twitch subscribers and over 1,406 Twitch followers, which you followers can subscribe, especially if you have Amazon Prime. And a shout out to our 6,854 YouTube subscribers. Thank you to everybody, like we mentioned at the top of the show, for being a part of us and sharing our show with everybody you know, and for following us. So we would not be here if it wasn't for you. Check out our website, nintendodads.org, for our Spotify podcast feeds and our show, as well as the other Nintendo Dads family of podcasts like Game Pass News, Dads After Dark Show, and the Retro Logic family of podcasts featuring Retro Logic, On Topic Retro, Retro Groove, and Film Logic. Our latest YouTube videos and tweets, links to all our social media, Patreon, and Extra Life pages, as well as the limited Nintendo Dads merch we have right now. And don't forget to check out our sponsors like Manscaped.com. Get 20% off your Manscaped order with free shipping with the code NINDADS, NINDADS, for 20% off and free shipping. You can contact us in most places by typing Nintendo Dads, or email us at nintendodads@gmail.com, or call in and leave a voicemail at 929-25-NDADS or 929-256-3237. Remember, Doug, 929-256-3237 to leave us a voicemail. Big thanks to OC Remix for the music throughout the show. Download from our favorite podcast app of choice. Please leave us a 5-star review and a comment. That also helps us. Thanks to Jesse, Justin, and our absent Marty. And thanks to everybody for listening. Check you later.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
If this is your jam, you are screwed up.